All right, everybody, we're getting set up here at Rogers Place. It is 3-0 in this series advantage for the Colorado Avalanche. So it's all systems go right now for one team and just one team trying to be able to stay alive right now. So let me give you some starting lineups and let you know how they're going to change a little bit in this series. So for the Colorado Avalanche, it is Nathan MacKinnon with Gabriel Landeskog and Valeri Nichushkin, and Devin Tays, and Kel McCarr. On the first line defense, JT Compher, Arturi Lehkonen, and Mikko Rantanen, with Bowen Byram and Eric Johnson. Mikko Rantanen might be moving to the second line center now that Nazem Kadri is going to be out for the rest of the playoffs from the hit from Evander Kane, and we'll get more into that momentarily. Nico Sturm, Alex Newhook, and Nicholas Aubé-Kubel on that third line with Jack Johnson and Josh Manson. On the fourth line, it's Darren Helm, Andrew Cogliano, and Logan O'Connor with Pavel Francouz in goal. So how is everything else going to change? Well, it turns out for Jared Bednar's squad that Andre Burakovsky is just returning now, and then Mikko Rantanen will go to the second line center because of the injury to Nazem Kadri. Again, Kadri will not be returning for the rest of the playoffs. So that is a big time loss there for the Colorado Avalanche, but lucky for Joe Sakic's squad, he's got a lot of depth and versatility to be able to move around on that end. As we're going to be getting into both national anthems here momentarily, let me give you some news on the Edmonton side. So it's Connor McDavid with Zach Hyman, and Jesse Puljujärvi will be in the right wing spot. He will be the number one for Jay Woodcroft's team. It's going to be Darnell Nurse and Cody Ceci as the first line defense. Leon Draisaitl, I believe, is still split. He's out there with Warren Foegele and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And Duncan Keith and Evan Bouchard, the second line defense remains unchanged. Third line is Ryan McLeod, Josh Archibald, and then we're Puljujärvi again, where that's going to move. Let's get to this momentarily here. It is Puljujärvi again on the first line. Dylan Holloway, the rookie, will be on the second line. So he could probably take the place, I would imagine, of Warren Foegele. So it would be Draisaitl, Holloway, and Nugent Hopkins. And then Foegele might move to that third line where Jesse Puljujärvi was. So the third line should be Ryan McLeod, Josh Archibald, and Jesse Puljujärvi. Fourth one will be Brad Malone, Derek Ryan, and let's see if there's anyone else in there. Maybe Derek Broussard. Derek Broussard could have been available for it. He might be sitting on the fourth line. There is no color Yamamoto. Brett Kulak and Tyson Berry will be on the third line defense. So for Edmonton, it sounds like this. The Evander Kane hit. He's only suspended for one game, and that's kind of a shame there for Colorado fans because Kadri and that hit and everything else, that looked a lot worse there from Evander Kane. So I'm surprised it's only one game there for Evander. But again, that only matters if the Colorado Avalanche don't just sweep them out today. Darcy Kemper probably going to miss most of the rest of the postseason there, so it's going to be Francois net. And then in the event, if something bad does happen, it's going to be Justus Anunen, the Finlander, as the backup goaltender tonight for the Avalanche. Again, Burakovsky returns and Rantanen's going to the second line center. Evander Kane is suspended for this game. Kailer Yamamoto out. Dylan Holloway, the rookie, promoted to the second line. Jesse Puljujärvi will be on the first line. So that should be all of the indicators as far as what's moved. Again, it's Francouz in net for the Avalanche, and it's still Mike Smith in goal for the Edmonton Oilers. So hopefully we got all that underway. It is a 3-0 series lead. It was an 8-6, 4-0, and 4-2 win for the Colorado Avalanche. The last one being 2 goals from Nichushkin, an empty netter from Rantanen. McDavid had a goal, and it was the hit parade with Evander Kane and Nazem Kadri. So again, that's unfortunate. Anyone that wants to go on the other side of it, I've said this many, many times. Evander Kane has had a wonderful postseason. There was just $1 million bonus for all the stuff that was going on with Evander Kane, right? So with the gambling, the fake COVID vaccination cards, the domestic abuse, all the other stuff, it was just $1 million. So he did well for himself to start that postseason. This hit is just another one of those things on the rap sheet there for Evander Kane. No need to do that on Nazem Kadri. Again, Kadri on the other side had a little bit of a rap sheet from the Maple Leafs and things like that he was getting out from under, and he's been doing very, very well. So for the Avs, it's a big loss. I don't think it's going to matter in this series. Maybe we'll see how that will change according to what happens between the Rangers and the Lightning. Again, I will be back with you tomorrow for that game as well. So Monday and Tuesday, I'll be in the driver's seat here. 8:15 start for this game today between the Oilers and Avalanche, and then tomorrow for the Rangers and Lightning to see if they're going to even that series up at 2-2. So while this one is a potential closeout, tomorrow's could either be a 3-1 or a 2-2. It'll be a brand new ball game. So I should be getting the rest of the Rangers Lightning series throughout the week. So that's where I will be. And if the NBA Finals is a little too crowded on Wednesday and Cooper Hopkins is in here, you can join me in there for that side of the broadcast and we can get some things done. I'll be very much looking forward to that. So the players are starting to skate out on the ice, and there's all sorts of anticipation because a Stanley Cup berth is on the line for the Colorado Avalanche. And they have been the darlings of Vegas over the last couple of years as far as the betting and favorites. And it's time that the Colorado Avalanche, they just finished off the Edmonton Oilers, and they realize this is what's going to happen to Edmonton in this series. They're going to get run over by a truck in terms of a team that's very, very good on that side. And we'll see if they can actually finish this one off. So let's get set for the official call here now as we're set with McDavid and McKinnon on the ice in the center ice draw. This should be a good one here regardless whether or not the series gets extended or not. But a Stanley Cup Finals berth is on the line for the Colorado Avalanche. And with all intents and purposes, what happened with Nazem Kadri and Evander Kane, you think he got the extra juice to want to get this done tonight. Devin Taves will try to get this one deep into the kick play. Now it's behind the net. Isval Nichushkin tries to keep this alive. McKinnon tries to play it out in front as the Let's Go Oilers chants are happening there at Rogers Place. It is a 3-on-2, and Draisaitl is just going to peel back and put this down deep in the zone. And this is picked up now by Connor. Connor tried to leave it across at the blue line, but nobody was home. And now Edmonton is going to take their time pretty much for their second attempt on the shift. It's going to be left to right across the timeline on the Oilers are in the dark unis with the orange lettering, and the Colorado Avalanche will be in the mid-maroon cerulean in the leg part in the middle in the white. Makar tried to keep that one alive. It was stopped there by Francois. It was right on the doorstep toward the right faceoff dot. That was a great save off the one-time blast. And now here comes Andrei Burakovsky again. He's just joining in this game after missing the last few, and it's going to be an offside entry here. So we're going to have a neutral zone draw with 18:55 left to go in the first period. Again, I will be here for this game in its entirety in Game 4, and then tomorrow as well in Game 4 between the Rangers and Lightning. So while this one could be a Stanley Cup Finals berth here for the Colorado Avalanche, the next one will still be extended, whether or not the Lightning go 2-2 or the Rangers go 3-1. So you're looking at Jay Woodcroft and Jared Bednar on the Sportsnet side of things, and you wonder what's going on between both of their heads as far as where their teams are going to be at and who's available to play, because Dylan Holloway is the rookie, and he's making his debut in the playoffs right now in a closeout game here for Edmonton, potentially. They can't get that done. And Jesse Puljujarvi went from the fourth one to the first. Bowen Byram, his wrist shot tried to go right on, bounced out in front. I think that was Landeskog to try to get a piece of it. Mike Smith kicked it away with the right pad, and now Edmonton trying to break out of this thing. It's a 3-on-3 coming all the way back, and Edmonton's just going to go ahead and take this line change as this goes back to Johnson. So Jack Johnson's out there right now with Josh Manson. It's picked up right at the blue line. Nice drop pass by Nichushkin. Try to feed it right back across from Nicolas Aube-Kubel right back there, and it just went wide. And now it was overskated there by Evan Bouchard, and he's got to sit up there with Duncan Keith. So Duncan Keith is no stranger to elimination games with the Chicago Blackhawks and a lot of success. Connor McDavid trying to weave his way through the screen, and it almost was knocked in the net by an Edmonton player. Francois was down. Hyman was also on the doorstep as well, and now Newhook gets cross-checked. And Colorado has to come over there to try to just save some face there. And you would think with what happened with Evander Kane and Nazem Kadri, Edmonton's not going to be in any particular rush to throw that rough stuff in there and try to get dirty. You know, they had a little bit of that because they're getting absolutely blown out as far as the hockey in particular. So it's about time to throw some cross checks and some fists, and that's just the way it is when you're down 3-0. And look, make no mistake about it, I'm going to be one of those that are diplomatic all the way across the board between these two teams. But I was saying this from the very beginning. Between the Los Angeles Kings and even the Calgary Flames, I did not pick Edmonton in either one of those series. And now they're going against Colorado. They're figuring out what a real team's going to be like. Again, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl aside, you know how good they are, but a complete team versus a just one line heavy team, and Evander Kane that was exploding, and Zach Hyman was exploding. Played up through the middle, and it gets picked up now by Colorado toward the right dot, now in the high slot. Johnson going to throw this back over there. Manson trying to make some moves, and now Nathan MacKinnon has it as he spins around McKinnon in the high slot. It gets flubbed off toward the right side, picked up now. Nice body check there by Edmonton, and maybe that's going to be a penalty with a cross check against Edmonton, and it is. So Colorado is going to have the immediate power play here. We're going to get a look at on the ESPN box score of who's the guilty party. So I got the ESPN box score ready to go and watching the Sportsnet coverage, and that's a hook on Zach Cassian against Johnson. So Zach Cassian's going to get a slash at 253, and that's what we got right now in Colorado. As the first power play of the game, as the shots are at 3 and the score is not at 0. Nobody's on the board yet. McCarr trying to play this one across there to Landeskog, and it goes just wide. Colorado's had 27 shots on the power play, which isn't too bad, but they're 2 of 14 in the series. But considering they're up 3-0, I don't think they're worried too much about that. If you're getting that many shots, we're doing something right. Cal McCarr tried to get an entry all by himself in between 3 Oilers as he turned on the Jets, and nobody could get there. Landeskog gets the bank there to McKinnon, goes back to Landeskog, set up now for McKinnon, pinned back around. Mikko Rantanen lost it as he tried to play it to McCarr, and they're able to get out of the zone. But another quick entry here for the captain. He leaves it there for Nathan McKinnon. McKinnon now to Kel McCarr. Going to send it over for Mikko Rantanen. McCarr. McKinnon, one-timer. Stopped by Smith. Rebounded out in front. That was patted away. Picked up now by the Avalanche. McKinnon wants the 1-T, but Colorado scores anyway. Kel McCarr, I don't know if that was tipped out in front, but Colorado is up 1-0. And again, what you want to look at is Colorado with the efficiency to be able to just close this one out tonight. That's what's on their mind. You want to get some injured bodies and everyone else back. Look, we don't know the whole depth of the situation with Darcy Kemper, but I believe he's going to be missing the rest of the playoffs. And I said this with Darcy Kemper and Francois with a .903 and a .902 save percentage, respectively. They're pretty much 1A and 1B in net. It's the great offense and great defense. They're instituted by Kel McCarr off a beautiful setup. He just shoots one toward the low side blue line and goes in, gets the traffic in net. So if you can keep, and I've said this, and this has kind of stayed that way throughout the series, between whether it was Kemper or Francois, between 25 to 28 shots per, you're doing something right. You're probably winning the game as far as shots on goal being saved. And Colorado's kind of held to that institution, and they've gotten it done. They have a 3-0 series lead, and they have a 1-0 lead in this game with 15:50 left. Edmonton trying to enter there as it's banked off the kick plate, now intercepted across the red line here for the Oilers. See if they can get something done with McDavid. Nice toe drag and one. A stop there by Francois off the left side glove hand. That was magic from Connor McDavid, but that's per usual. One man cannot do it all. This goes back as this pins balls off Draisaitl, and now back toward the blue line where Duncan Keith is going to leave it there for his defensive partner, Evan Bouchard. Bouchard now gets it back up. Nice move there and set up there by Zach Hyman. Zach Hyman looking for a breakout pass, and this finds the goal stick of Francois, and now Nicolas Aube-Kubel will get this one down across the red line. Colorado able to just get this all the way down on the goal cage of Mike Smith, and now there's going to be a battle for the puck here. That's won by Warren Foegele now behind the cage. He's going to sit up there with Tyson Barrie as the third line defense is out there right now. Barrie, Foegele, nice skate through between 3 Avalanche, almost picked the puck back up behind the cage. Now this is open toward the right faceoff. Got Barrie flubbed on it, picked up now by Corey McLeod as he tries to spin around with ESC Puljujärvi. As now Puljujärvi's back on that third line. This is going to be promoted to the first momentarily there for Jay Woodcroft. So take a look at the second line with Dylan Holloway when they come out as the rookies making his NHL debut in a playoff game such as this. Chance for Burakovsky as that gets his pocket picked. Puljujärvi came all the way back there. Now Zach Hyman trying to chip and chase by himself, but the Avalanche just kept him Pandora's boxed in there. He couldn't get out of it as this bounced across the red line. And now Cody Ceci will play this there from Darnell Nurse. Edmonton trying to get something going. Zach Cassian thought about leaving a backhanded pass. He's going to hold toward the right faceoff dot. Slap shot here for Ceci gets blocked out in front. The Avalanche do an excellent job. Burakovsky there trying to get this out. Valanciunas trying to bother Darnell Nurse. He could be the first to get to it. CC had to get bodied off the puck. Picked up now by the captain, Landeskog. Try to shoot short side. Rebound out in front. Falls to Mike Smith, and Nathan McKinnon gets cross-checked there by Darnell Nurse. No call there as they got that right after the whistle. So the 13:42 mark of the first period, John here within the call from Rogers Place in Edmonton, Alberta. Edmonton trying to stave off and keep the series alive, being down 3-0. It was a goal by Kel McCarr. They got the Avalanche on the board first. When we come back, we're going to call the rest of this first period action.
Welcome to your new home. You're probably a bit scared. It's okay. If you get homesick, try making one of Mom's recipes. Invest in a good winter jacket. Trust me. And make sure you start with the right advisor. They're going to be by your side for a long time.
If you haven't joined the world's favorite sports book, you need to ask yourself, why am I not a member of the world's favorite sports book? At last count, we had over 63 million members worldwide. Download the app now and see for yourself why Bet365 is the world's #1.
The actual fun right here in the thing. Discover his story. This is my mistake. We have to get everyone home. Disney Pixar. We can help you. To infinity and beyond. Disney Pixar's Lightyear. Only age 17.
It's time to see who's hungry, brought to you by Skip Editions, the official food delivery app of the NHL. Well, Kel McCarr has very much become the humbled superstar in the NHL. He has admitted that his life away from the rink, though, can be a bit boring. Nothing boring, however, what he's able to do on the ice at the UFC.
They're showing some stuff there with Kel McCarr on the Sportsnet side. And he goes, my life outside of hockey is pretty boring. I just want to be able to do my thing. And that's pretty much what you want from a superstar like that, especially for as young as McCarr is. Back in the official action now is McDavid trying to lead this one out to Cody Ceci. And Nurse trying to get a slap shot there. And then it was Pulley-Arvey now. And Pulley-Arvey going to let this one go off the body check, picked up now by McKinnon. Nice drag in there for two players. Smith had to be quick about that pad save. McKinnon's got it now behind the goalkeeper, trying to flow a pass out in front of the slot. And this gets picked up now by Connor. Connor trying to weave his way through the traffic there. And this goes back across the red line and now intercepted by Landeskog. Picked up now by the first line as they continue here with Bowen Byram, part of the second line defense there, as that's mixed up now with Johnson. Shot out in front, stopped there by Smith. There's two Avalanche on the doorstep. And going to get set up one more time. Johnson going to hold. He's going to put this in toward the right face off top, and Edmonton's going to find this one and try to get it out right now. They're down to 1-0 early here, 12:35 left to go. Stolen there. Lehkonen tries to go all the way and he gets paid a heavy price there off the body check. And now Edmonton trying to break out across the red line. They're going to send one in toward the right face off top. Picked up now by Byram as he gets a seat taking, but still, Nichushkin able to find this thing, pass it out in front for Nicolas Aube-Kubel. He got wrapped around with the puck, and this goes back to Newhook. Newhook falls in between Aube-Kubel and Nurse. Intercepted off the post, and it didn't go in. It looked like it was destined for the top of the left crossbar, but the Zebras waved it off. Manson, as the puck is still alive here in the defensive end by Colorado, almost intercepted. And now Colorado able to get this across the red line. We'll chip and chase this one down. Aube-Kubel trying to half spin here, trying to buy some time as the Let's Go Oilers chance going right now at Rogers Place. Back down the ice. This can be a chance for Johnson to get things set up there with Mikko Rantanen. He's out there right now in the second line defense in front of the first line offense here for Jared Bednar's squad. Fogle toward the Oilers logo. He will get this one off the kick plate. Try to get picked back up, and Byram got smoked again against the boards. It was a third heavy hit he's already taken. Shot loose out in front of the high slot. Picked up now by Byram. See if Byram has to get hit again. And there's a nice hit left on the other side for Rantanen that was not called. He got a little bit of a cross check there, as it's now 11:05. Mike Smith way out of the goal crease, trying to get a long setup here. Cody McLeod in toward the high slot, trying to buy some space. Slap shot. Francois with a huge save off a secondary rebound. And now this goes back to Devin Tays. So Devin Tays and Kel McCarr are out there right now for the Avalanche. Edmonton stuck in their own defensive zone as this goes back around. McLeod was able to pinch all the way back with a 200-foot game and try to buy some time. I think this went up and on a play, so it's going to be a neutral zone faceoff as it was play with a high stick. So 10:41 left to go in the first period. John here with you from Rogers Place in Edmonton, Alberta. And man, Josh Manson, he had a really good look at that. He hit the top of the crossbar and then it bounced off the left of the crossbar as well. And then a couple secondary rebounds there. Pavel Francois, one off a block by McCarr, another one for Jesse Puljujärvi. Made the save both times. So Francois, a couple excellent saves. 9 shots on goal for Edmonton, 6 for the Avs. McCarr tried to leave it out in front for his defensive guy, but he wasn't there. They had a miscommunication. Loose out in front, Francois with one save, and I think the team with a secondary save as the shot got stopped before it hit Francois. McCarr now going to spin and hold. He's going to leave it toward the right faceoff dot as this goes just wide. Draisaitl now picks it back up. Draisaitl, series of moves across the red line, buys some time as it gets spun around the kick plate now. Jesse Puljujärvi now. He is out there with Draisaitl, so we'll see if Puljujärvi can get his points production up. Connor McDavid now in behind the cage, momentarily lost the puck, tried to leave it there out in front for his defense, and it was nicely intercepted there by Kel McCarr. But Edmonton plays this back to Mike Smith. Mike Smith with a gorgeous outlet pass. They're just going to rattle this around the boards, try to get picked up now by Colorado in their own end. Cogliano is not going to go too far, and this puck might have been a delay of game as this was played over the glass. So this is going to go against Colorado. It's going to put Edmonton on the power play for the first time. So Oilers will come to the power play when we come back.
It's good to play. So get involved. Meet your friends. Don't meet your friends. Lift your head down. See the world. Do it for her. For that. Do it for yourself. But always know your limits. Keep yourself in check. Or just play another day. Play safe at Bet365. There are those who idle, and those who never seem to stop. They can't. They have to keep moving. Refusing to rest. Reimagine what's possible.
What's going on, Jacob? How you doing, buddy?
Get it done. That's what we did when we redesigned the GMC Terrain. And those
I know you're going to be doing the NBA Finals stuff. If there's not too many people on here, I probably will consider doing that myself on Wednesday. But if there is any closeouts, it'll probably be mostly Stanley Cup playoffs games for me, especially in the finals. We've done a lot of hockey coverage. I'm probably going to get all that stuff in the finals. Hope you're doing good, man. This game right now was a 1-0 early score there for Kel McCarr. As again, the Colorado Avalanche are looking to just eliminate the Edmonton Oilers in the sweep and punch their ticket to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time in quite a while. So on the Sportsnet side of it, he had 8 points in round 2, did Zach Hyman, 6 for McDavid, 5 for Draisaitl. It's 1, 0, and 1, respectively. So that's what ends up happening when you're playing against a really good team like the Colorado Avalanche. You can't just one-line this thing all the way through it, as good as McDavid and Draisaitl are. But here's an opportunity as we get back into the official action here. Edmonton is on the power play. Darren Helm got a high sticking call, what it was. It pretty much shattered around the hand. McDavid wins the draw. This goes back there, Bouchard. McDavid lets it go into the screen. Colorado trying to find this thing. Loose in the high slot. It got blocked before it hit Francois, but Oilers still with this thing. Pass across, slap shot there for Tyson Barrie, and it got knocked out of the air. Picked up now by Leon Draisaitl in toward the right faceoff dot. In the high slot, Bouchard going to play this one to Draisaitl. He's still sitting posted up in that right faceoff dot. A wrist shot right on, got stopped there by Francois, but it's not out. Bouchard keeping this alive for Connor. He's going to go off the back skate, pinball this one out in front, and Draisaitl will find it toward the right face-off dot. Bouchard still holding the high slot, finds McDavid, goes back to Bouchard. Big slap shot goes wide left of the boards and picked up now by Connor. Connor trying to weave his way toward the left face-off dot, goes back to the high slot to Bouchard, and now McDavid centering out in front with a slap shot, and Draisaitl still able to hold it. All puck possession right now for Edmonton. 50 seconds still left to go on the power play. It's not escaped the zone here. It's been a minute 10 of zone time. We'll see if Colorado's going to start to get tired, but I would imagine not too much. They're going to move. Mike Smith will come all the way out of the goal crease to play this one, leaving it to Draisaitl toward the Oilers logo, and a little bit of mass communication there. Allowed the puck to be cleared. Is Colorado able to get this one down the ice? And here's a chance now for Tyson Barrie. He's usually the power play quarterback here. He's going to set this one up. He gets a lot of specialty teams time because he can find some space to be able to get in there. McLeod trying to play this one down the kick flight now. Intercepted there by the Avalanche. Stolen by the Oilers momentarily, but now cleared down the ice. So for about, I would say, a minute and 10 seconds, it looked pretty good for Edmonton to be able to get some of that time and space. They had some shots, but Colorado was able to get a few blocks in there. McDavid, nice spin, nice drop pass, and that was a stick save there by Francois as now Colorado returns to full strength. Trying to make a transition into the neutral zone right now. As this goes back in behind the cage of Mike Smith. I see your comment. I'm going to read it there in a second. It goes back out. Lehkonen couldn't find it. Here's a chance maybe for Edmonton. What a back check there for Colorado to be able to get all the way back there with Jack Johnson to stop it pretty much 2-0 that would have been against Francois. 7:05 left to go in the first period. Edmonton just trying to get this out of the defensive zone. They've already conceded one. They can't afford to concede too many more. As this goes back to Johnson, we're down to under 7 minutes as we get the Let's Go Oilers chance in Edmonton, Alberta. They're down 3-0 in this series. Offside entry. So yeah, it looks like Canada will come out of this empty-handed again. You know what? It's probably right there, Jacob, in the sense of, again, you're down 3-0. But look, I mean, even I can't say too much against this, even though I'm going to be honest with you. I took the LA Kings and the Calgary Flames to beat the Edmonton Oilers in the first two series. And they won 7 games against the Kings. Again, the Battle of Alberta was mostly won there by Edmonton, with the exception of the first game, because that chasm of point totals, you had 125 for McDavid, 110 for Draisaitl. The next closest was RNH with 55. In the playoffs, it's been a little bit more of a revelation as far as everybody's been able to get point production. So that kind of played into their hands while they're able to get as far as they were. But make no mistake about it, Colorado's been favored by Vegas over the last couple of years. They've been a juggernaut. Shut out in front, gets stopped by Francois, and Edmonton's finding that out firsthand. And you made the Final Four. It's a great season for Edmonton, but I would just caution this. That doesn't mean that all the other inefficiencies that you've had throughout the regular season mysteriously go away after having a couple good runs there in the playoffs for rounds. You still have to make those same adjustments as far as figuring out that defense, figuring out that goaltending, and trying to get some more depth support for McDavid and Draisaitl. So that can't change. This goes back into the red line. And now picked up now by Pavel Francois. Colorado able to dodge a couple of checks there as they're trying to transition through this red line. McKinnon couldn't find it. Now McKinnon has it now. Trying to leave it there nicely there for the captain, Gabriel Landeskog. Nice center out front. And Arturi Lehkonen to pick up there from the Montreal Canadiens. He almost got a beneficiary of a pass, and it went up and out of play. But yeah, it's going to be very difficult for any of these Canadian teams. And if I'm going to go ahead and be completely honest with you, I know Calgary is going to have to go through and maybe make some changes with some free agents there. With what do you want to think about Johnny Hockey or Gabranson or some of these other defensive pieces like Zadorov? You know, Toronto, everybody makes fun of them in that first round series, but they took the Lightning to 7 and they've given them the biggest task, and they did a good job against Vasilevsky. Things were a little bit different. I think Toronto really could have made some noise, but when you're running up against a potential back-to-back-to-back, that makes it tough. Come back in the official action here in a moment. How are you feeling about the NBA series so far? between the Warriors and Celtics. I caught game one during the weekend, so that's why I wasn't on. I wasn't able to get much game two or any of the sports during the weekend itself. But Warriors kind of came back there a counterpunch like I expect a lot of people thought they would. It's going to be interesting here in game three and game four, in my opinion. I don't know how you feel about this, but Boston hasn't exactly had the best record at TD Garden. So, I mean, I know it's easy to look at it and say, you want to go a split and see what happens going forward, but I think honestly, Boston's got to be able to find a way to do that. Can they get that secondary production from Marcus Smart and Al Horford that they got in game one, they couldn't get in game two, when the Warriors looked more like themselves all the way across the board? Hell, they could have won game one, the Warriors, because they played really well offensively, just some really good production that it will shut down in game two. But how do you see that series? So it's fun for sure. Game three should be really interesting, especially because both teams won without key pieces contributing. Yeah, I agree with you on that sense of it. You got to figure out where is Tatum going to be in that regard. You haven't really seen much of him, although he's been able to contribute other ways. He's not been efficient scoring. We're going to get back into the official action right now. So Holloway was a Hobie Baker Award finalist at the University of Wisconsin. And how about making your playoff debut in a game four and a possible elimination game for Dylan Holloway here? It'd be kind of interesting to see if he could get some time. I know they promoted Jesse Pugliarvi for Jay Woodcroft's squad to put down the first line because you have a little bit more veteran with experience. But if he got some time there with McDavid and Drysdale, how would that look? Again, you really have to try anything right now. It's a 3-0 series advantage. 10-10 on the shot board in favor of both teams, but it's Colorado with a 1-0 advantage courtesy of the Denver product in Kel McCarr. Absolutely spectacular. One of the best young defensemen we got in the league. Fake slap shot there turns into a fake pass, and then a setup as it goes toward the right of Francois. And Colorado can try to transition this thing through the neutral zone. As this is Valanciunas again, I always make this point, but he's been very, very good since coming over from the Dallas Stars. And Andre Burakovsky now making his return after coming from the Washington Capitals. Just great depth scoring in there with Sturm or Helm or Cogliano or Manson, anything else that Joe Sakic's been able to do. He's just kind of add to that foundation that's already surrounded there with McKinnon, Landeskog, Rantanen, Makar, and you just expertly put the pieces around them. And it's been good right now as we get a stoppage of play. So 4:36 left to go in this first period of action. So, yeah, Tatum and Clay have been off a little bit. Yeah, and again, for Clay, that's probably a little bit more of an understandability there as far as missing a lot of time, about 2.5 seasons there for Clay. But for Tatum, make no mistake about it. Like you said, he needs to be able to do a little bit more in there for Boston to be able to get to where they want to get to. Again, I don't think they mind being in the NBA Finals. That core in terms of everything else that's going on, you feel pretty good about that. There doesn't need to be a lot of wholesale changes. They've gotten that one right. But you need to be able to get your best stars to play like stars in the most important period of time that there is, whether it's the NHL playoffs or the NBA Finals. It remains to always be that way. Trying to get kept onside there. RNH lets this one go. Johnson trying to find this into the screen there for the Avalanche. RNH trying to go toward the right dot of the faceoff before he just intercepts this thing. Evan Bouchard. And I think we may have a tripping penalty being called. Because Jared Bednar is not looking too happy, so you can only assume that's going to go against the Colorado Avalanche here. And we're going to get this official call in a moment. So chance there for Zach Hyman, and he just got tripped down. No doubt about it. I think Johnson was kind of in the wrong place, wrong time. So it will put Edmonton on their second power play of the contest. They are still looking to get this game with an even. Right at the 4-minute mark, it's going to be Eric Johnson, 2 minutes for tripping Zach Hyman. So we'll see what Edmonton's going to want to do here with their line adjustment or Jay Woodcroft or moving some things around. It's one of those situations now where you just have to try to do a little bit of everything. Whether it is if you're in Edmonton or even Colorado in that sense, you try to scratch and claw to finish this series out as quickly as possible or extend it if you're on the other side. Face-off won there by Edmonton. Shot through the screen. Picked up now by the Oilers. Draisaitl going to calmly play this back to the high slot. Fake the slap shot. Draisaitl lets it go. Nice stop by the stick of Francois, but the helmet came off. It got dislodged. So that's going to be a momentary mandatory stoppage of play. So Edmonton has a chance to take a breath there, and Francois can go ahead and get his bucket of salad, gets protection on the top of that. Because again, if you remember, long time ago, goalies did not used to play with helmets or a lot of other protection. So imagine taking a 100-mile-an-hour slapper directly into the face. Being a Red Wings fan that I am, being from Michigan, and all I remember Terry Sawchuk and the whole thing, got scars all over his face, trying to stop pucks with whatever you can. And sometimes back then, it was an unprotected face. So luckily, things have changed, and now the post and the net can also be knocked off its moorings. So if you slam right in the post, there is no decapitations. They're able to move on and hopefully only lose a couple of chiclets. So 3:45 left to go in the first period. Minute 45 left to go in the Edmonton power play as there was a momentary stoppage there for Francois. They'll get that helmet put back on there. So now another offensive draw here for the Oilers. It's important that they win this one. Penalty kill line is out there right now for Colorado, and that's probably usually Helm and O'Connor and things like that. You got your secondary liners. And in the high slotted pinballs off the kick play back in behind the cage of Francois. Francois holding on the left post. Colorado nicely able with Cogliano. He's got some jets even on his advanced age. Mike Smith couldn't find it there, but he was able to glove that down. A little slash shown there by Evan Bouchard. All right, man, I appreciate it. So 3:24 left to go in the first period. It was a shot that was on the penalty kill side of Andrew Cogliano. Mike Smith couldn't find it there momentarily, but it was a defensive zone faceoff here for the Edmonton Oilers. So they need to be able to get this one and try to transition in there to a minute 24. It's very important at this point, again, as much as cliche as it can be, the penalty kill for the Avalanche is 75%. They'd like that to be a little higher, but Edmonton needs to do whatever they can to try to tie this up at the first period. Draisaitl lost it. Race for the puck now. Coffer is going to be the first to get to it. He lets it go. And Mike Smith makes a clean glove save. So a second shorthanded save as O'Connor turned on the Jets. I thought that was JT Coffer. It was Logan O'Connor able to turn on the Jets there. Bill just get it. He tried to find it. Did Draisaitl when O'Connor off to the races. And again, maybe, just maybe, if he saw he had a little more time there for a drop pass, we will set something up. But again, if you make that mistake where you miss that drop pass, you can put yourself in a lot of trouble there where it's a quick transition going the other way. So sometimes it's smart with the lead. Just get that shot on. Don't make too many unnecessary moves. So Draisaitl and McDavid as they get the entry. And now almost intercepted again. Colorado doing some work. Here's Helm with the slap shot. Stopped by Smith and Helm. Helm gets checked by Barry a couple times up the cross check, and Helm's like, I don't want none of this. So he's going to peel back. 2:47 left to go in the first period. This is a third shorthanded shot there by the Colorado Avalanche. They've looked really good on this kill, and they forced Mike Smith to have to make a couple of saves as he's had a couple of wonky rebound controls there, but he was able to find it and hold it. So 2:47 left to go in the first period. John here with you from Rogers Place, Edmonton, Alberta. Colorado trying to finish this series off right now. Doing a good job on this penalty kill so far as they've got 3 shots on goal against Mike Smith. They've done more damage on the shots on goal department than Edmonton has on their second power play here. O'Connor trying to play this one toward the middle. He's going to break out here as the pass comes down. And he's going to get to this. He's going to beat Mike Smith to the puck. So he never took his eye off of it. He went all the way down there. He was able to kill more time. So this is a great kill here for Bednar's squad. He was able to get a lot of shots there and test Mike Smith with some chances. Here's a chance now for Vogel to try to find this one. Yes, Pugliarvi gets it stolen. Colorado has it once more. This is Valery Nichushkin. Nichushkin gets a shot in toward the right side of the boards. He's going to pick it back up, though, as he gets around Duncan Keith. Now this gets intercepted. The penalty does end as Colorado returns to full strength. We got a minute 45 left to go in the first period here. We'll see if anything else will change. Bowen Byram out there with Johnson. Lehkonen stays on side. This goes back there to Mikko Rantanen. Rantanen at the second line center now. Trying to find this thing. Pass out in front. Mike Smith lost the goal stick. It's a dump in front of the madhouse in front of Mike Smith's cage. Shot on, gets stopped. Secondary rebound saved there by Smith. Mike Smith with his best series of saves in this first period. He's been tested of late, and he's kind of past that test right now. It's still 1-0. Devin Tays trying to find McCarr, but it's intercepted at the red line now. Picked up by Connor. He's going to let it go short side of the left. It goes just wide. And now Edmonton picks it up with Darnell Nurse. Darnell Nurse finds Cece. Cece going to slap this Roman kick plate across the red line. See if Colorado can get to it first. It's back toward the high slot of the blue. Nurse finds Cece. Cece extra pass across there for Draisaitl. Back to Nurse. Cece now. McDavid. Draisaitl. Draisaitl trying to let it go through the screen. Cece picks it up. Try to potential back pass this thing to Zach Hyman. And it was high on the plate. 46 seconds left to go in the first period. Colorado looked really good on the penalty kill. The last probably 40 seconds have been pretty dangerous here for Edmonton between McDavid and Draisaitl toward, a little bit of the last of a double shifting there for McDavid and Draisaitl, especially coming after a kill to try to get something going there for Woodcroft, and I really don't blame him there. At this point, again, it's 13-4 on the faceoffs in favor of the Oilers, so they've certainly got that point correct, but they're down 1-0 on the score sheet. Chance for RNH on the draw. He got held up there. Picked up now by Colorado. This one's just going to be fluttered down the ice. It's going to get between the right faceoff dot. Couldn't get picked up off the rebound there by Helm. Helm going to spin. He tried to find Cogliano. Cogliano and Helm trying to intersect there to buy some space. Byram with a wrist shot. He gets bounced out in front there by Smith as this goes across the red line. And Colorado with a couple of good chances there, but Mike Smith has been pretty good for the most part here. Mike Smith finding this puck in between the pads as this is back around for one more rush here for Edmonton if they can get some time. Chris Russell now not getting too much time, but again, he's on the third line defense, I suppose, as this goes to Kel McCarr, and that's how it's going to end the first period. 15-12 on the shot board in favor of the Avalanche. Kel McCarr, your lone goal scorer after one. It's 1-0 Avalanche. They have a 3-0 series lead. They're trying to close this out and punch their ticket to the Stanley Cup Finals. Enjoy the intermission. We'll be back with second period action.
This period of the Stanley Cup playoffs is brought to you by Scotiabank. See how we're changing the game at scotiabank.com/hockeyforall.
Find redefined style, refresh style, roomy style, recaptured style. Introducing the first ever Chevrolet Equinox RS. Find new style, find new roads.
Are you born with destiny? Or does it just come knocking at your door? Watch that skin transform into a superhero. It's my destiny. Just gotta make it more somebody. Just call me over a flash. Lemons. Look how nice they are. The moment you become an Expedia member, you can instantly stop saving on your troubles. So you can go and see those lovely lemons. You know what? And never wonder if you got the deal. Because you did.
Hello, Pam.
What's going on here?
Job's not done yet.
So that takes 16 hours for the speed before it's ready, so we can just, call you back.
Yeah, not a chance I let someone put their lips on the BBQ before this guy. I'm a Stan.
Hey, good night, Justin.
Love you.
I love you too.
Okay.
But I said it first.
Try my French vanilla beans fruit for a limited time. Only at City. It's worth the wait.
Are you tired of washing dishes? Well, flip the way you clean them.
Introducing Double Platinum Easy Squeeze. It's a new upside-down bottle with no cap. You just grab and squeeze. Platinum's upgraded, more powerful formula breaks down and removes grease faster. So use Platinum on greasy countertops and to free tree stains on laundry. No flip and no mess. Down to the last squeeze. Try new Double Platinum Easy Squeeze. It's like the way you clean dishes.
We're at New River Beach, New Brunswick, where 10 of the world's best sand sculpting teams are facing off in an epic beach bash. Uh-oh, that's coming! A Maestro Fresh West. Watch as we race against the tide.
Hey friends, Steve Dangle here. I got a fun idea. Why don't you join us, watch the Stanley Cup playoffs with Steve Dangle live on the Sportsnet YouTube channel. It's on right now, live. Check it out.
Hockey fans, this is big. One lucky fan could win $1 million plus instant cash prizes and more. Check out the Stanley Cup playoffs on Sportsnet and watch the game go to play. Enter to win at sportsnet.ca/this is big.
One of the Colorado, Josh Manson, a crossbar is a significant moment in the period. The Oilers were incredible on faceoff, 72%. It's kind of a wash, but Colorado's got the lead, and you spoke about how important that would be.
Yeah, I did. And, so mission accomplished for the Avalanche. But for the Oilers, I hate to be overly critical. This may sound it. It just feels like a regular season game in November when you're returning from a 5-game road trip and you're just trying to find some urgency. It's not easy to do so. And I just don't think we saw the best of the Oilers.
I just think that aside from McDavid right now, and he's trying, I mean, God knows he's trying, there's just not, especially with Draisaitl still battling to get 100%, there just doesn't seem to be anybody there who can, really do something that sort of gets the crowd going or gets the Avalanche on their heels. You can see McDavid, he's doing it, but there's just nobody there. Kevin, I see, who's elsewhere right now, is able to make a play that turns the momentum of the game or gets the juices flowing.
Like, I know you're always talking to people, but I'm also talking to people in the streets, and what people are saying is last game it felt quiet at Edmonton in the arena, and again it feels a little bit quiet tonight. And to your point, yeah, like somebody in Edmonton has to do something, but the way Colorado plays, Ron, quickly, they're fast. They dart in and out, and they don't just sit there and take hits on the boards. They're always spinning off the tracks. This isn't the LA Kings that are looking for confrontations all over the ice where you can be physical. It's a tough team to play against.
What you're saying kind of piqued my interest because Kelly sat in the building and watched McDavid against Calgary after doing Flames all year. I thought, watching McDavid is otherworldly. Now the Oilers fans are sitting there seeing McCarr for the first time this much. That's right. And McKinnon this much. And I think that's kind of got them at the back, thinking, our guys are fantastic, but geez, their guys good too. Like, let's look at some kids.
So McCarr, right? Like, don't call this guy an offensive defenseman because he's not. He's a complete defenseman. He does everything well. Yes, he's got exceptional offensive talents, but look at the way he defends. And we showed the one-on-one that Elliott tried to ask him about in the pregame, and he just thrust him off. But here's another one on O'Connor, and he's patient. But watch here. This job right here of McLeod is to make sure he funnels this puck down the wall. And McCarr's going to give him a little shimmy and get this over to Rantanen. And that's a walking shot that you don't want to give up because everyone in the Edmonton PK is on the other side of the ice. But McCarr's special there. And now he's taking the puck up the ice and
okay, we lost.
Well, I mean, there were so many. That's so fast news. But you watch him; he gets the puck, and he never makes a bad decision. Too. And he defends well, and he cares about defending. He's not just looking to get the puck and go on offense. He cares about every facet of the game.
See, I have this theory that sometimes you need to be seen by everybody in the playoffs before you can win certain things. I wouldn't be surprised if McCarr wins the Hart Trophy next year. As soon as next year. Just because everybody's seeing how good he is now, and that's going to be.
And that won't be the only time he wins it either. He's that good. But that said, Connor McDavid is still Connor McDavid.
Yeah, no question. And McDavid is doing it tonight. I mean, look, the record this year in the playoffs for most minutes played. By the way, I love this off the top. Him and McKinnon. That is awesome. Yeah, that is awesome. That is two players not wanting to give an inch. And McDavid's doing everything he can. He's His moves are fantastic. His rushes are fantastic. He showed how Colorado would help him without statistically a 5-on-5 rush for the whole series. That's not happening tonight. You cannot, in any way, shape, or form, say that McDavid's not giving you anything he can. The most minutes played this year in the playoffs by a forward in a non-overtime game is 27-23. That was McDavid in Game 7 against the Kings. He's going to smash that tonight, or at least is on pace to. And why wouldn't you do that if you were Edmonton?
Kelly, what's your shot blocks? Okay, so whether it's shot blocks by the Avalanche or the Oilers just not getting the pucks through to Francouz, it's been a real problem.
So it's been a relatively uneventful first period here, but there were some points that I can make from the intermission here for Sportsnet. But let me give the first period goal recap. And again, there was not much. It was 3:46 mark. Kel McCarr on the power play, assisted by Arturi Lehkonen. It was a penalty from Darren Helm for holding the stick of Zach Cass and kind of broke it on there as well. That turned it around. So Zach Cassidy commits for a slash from Jack Johnson, turning into that. 2:53 led to a 3:46 power play goal from Kel McCarr and Arturi Lehkonen. That was your lone goal. Sportsnet side of it is showing Connor McDavid, and again, he had almost 10 minutes of ice time. Again, you have 20-minute periods, almost 10 minutes of ice time, as they're giving him as much opportunity as they can here to make something happen. Sportsnet is saying even when Draisaitl with his injuries and things like that, that Edmonton has not looked like they usually have throughout this series. And it's one of those situations, too, we talked about earlier throughout the broadcast, between McDavid and Hyman. That's 2 points. Nothing for Draisaitl. That's all they've had in this series on that top line. So they're kind of getting shut down. And I just want to make that point again. Between some of the other stuff that was kind of taken away of the Los Angeles Kings and then the Calgary Flames in that 5-game series, you give Edmonton full credit for winning 2 series. But you do not let this mask whatever happens right now, even if they go all the way through and win the Stanley Cup final. Let's say they complete the impossible. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but let's just say that. Even if you go all the way through, it should not mask some of your defensive issues, some of the fact that you need more offensive goal scoring. You can't have those chasms of 125 points, 110, and then 55 for RNH. All that stuff in the regular season hasn't happened so far in the playoffs, and that's why Edmonton was able to get as far as they are. But you don't let that mask the whole thing you've seen in the playoffs. Good job in the first 2 rounds. Still need some more offensive depth. You still need some good defensive work. In your goaltending situation between Mikko Koskinen and Mike Smith. Mike Smith's 40, Mikko Koskinen's 35. You got to figure that one out too. So a lot of work still to be done here for Ken Holland and his squad when that offseason hits, whenever it hits. Do not let that mask some of the other issues that you've seen throughout that regular season, because you will be in trouble and you'll be in a worse spot than you were this year. Evander Kane, that was a feel-good story. It worked out really well toward the second half of the season for most of this playoffs. That hit on Nazem Kadri, that goes back to the initial rap sheet of Evander Kane. It's not acceptable. Can't have that happen. Can't do that. And Nazem Kadri on the other end, he was getting rid of all the other stuff that was going against him against the Toronto Maple Leafs. It was a good run for him. He's going to be out for the rest of the playoffs. Thankfully for Joe Sakic's squad, you get the Andre Burakovsky return. You get some other pieces that can move around. You move Mikko Rantanen on the second line offensive part of it. Now that Kadri's out, he can take some draws. So plenty of depth there between, again, O'Connor, Cogliano, Newhook, Helm, all these other pieces, Sturm that can come in there. You know, adding in a Josh Manson to work with Jack Johnson or Eric Johnson with Bowen Byram. They have the other pieces, but they will miss Nazem Kadri. Whatever happens in that Eastern series between the Lightning or the Rangers, they will miss Kadri. And again, as we've said, between Kemper and Francouz, a 903 and a 902 save percentage respectively, I kind of thought of them as 1A, 1B. But if they can do the same things and keep those shots on goal between 25 and 28, Colorado probably wins because everything else is pretty good on their offensive side of things. So we'll see. But those are the reports right now, as it's 1-0 after 1. So we'll be getting into the second period here momentarily. I'm going to have the complete game story and coverage and everything else to follow. I'll throw that in the chat section now.
become a mixed media member, you can instantly start saving on your troubles. So you can go and see all those lovely lemony lemons. And never wonder if you got a good deal. Because you did. Captain plays at home in Ottawa as they battle France in Nations League volleyball. Saturday at 4 Eastern on CBC10.
Only us and what we have on this plane.
Yes. All right, let's dress up, breakouts, hookups.
Here we go.
Back with some news on it.
After their elimination, the Bruins hinted it was possible, but it's still a shocker it happened. Bruce Cassidy, who's never missed the playoffs as head coach of the Bruins, is out as their head coach. Full search to come.
Taking it down to the big red board we go. Cabby in.
Thank you, Ron. This is Andy McLean from Beeson. Paddle for yourselves has a sneaky .930 save percentage, 12 saves in the first period. Campbell Carr's got his fifth of the playoffs. Andy, what's your read on the game so far?
Yeah, well, we talked about it heading into game 2, just how important it is as sports bettors to temper your expectations whenever things stray too far from the betting market. We saw 14 goals in the first 3 periods of this series, just 11 goals in the 7 periods since then, and we look like we're heading for another low-scoring affair here. The total at 5.5 of basically a pick'em. The money line minus 260 in favor of the Avalanche, plus 210 coming back on the other side with the Oilers.
Colorado's rolling right now. They've won all of their road games, and they swept Nashville and on the verge of sweeping Edmonton. Hopefully not. Anyway, thank you so much, Andy, and back to you.
Thanks, Cabby. Thank you, Andy. McLean. I swear, we're going to be an act one of these days. Here's the scene in the room. You've heard of a rugged defenseman. That's a rugged defenseman. On tapes. Making sure the blood's flowing. One of the Colorado Our coverage continues with Chris and Craig and Kyle. Hockey Netting Canada.
Now, keep in mind the other big coverage of the day was Bruce Cassidy is no longer the coach of the Boston Bruins. Still surprised, never missed the playoffs as head coach of Boston. Again, cough, cough, Detroit. Hopefully Steve Eisman can come calling on that regard because Bruce Cassidy is a damn good coach.
I don't think I have anything with my name on it. Thank you.
Make way for the first ever Chevrolet Silverados NR2. Multimatic shocks, rugged 33-inch tires, and front and rear electronic locking differentials. Dude, this is awesome. We should get back to work. It's good. If you're going to work remote. Find new workspaces. Find new roads. Chevrolet.
While we're waiting in the intermission, again, I know that's kind of a dead period here because of the game of no NBA Finals stuff until Wednesday. I'll be back with you tomorrow for another hockey broadcast between the Rangers and the Oilers. I was just looking at some particular scores here, and nothing really caught my eye on the baseball side of it. We check out the standings, though. I think we can make a deep dive of that. So the Yankees leading the AL East at 39-15. The Toronto Blue Jays have made a good run of late. They're up to 31-22. Tampa 31-23. Boston hovering at 500. Baltimore, they're in the cellar 23-33, but they got some good pieces upcoming. Minnesota really the only team above 500 in the AL Central, 32-24. Houston Astros, they say thank you very much to the Los Angeles Angels, who've lost 11 in a row. Astros are 35-19, 7-3 in the last 10. So I don't know what's going on with the Angels. And I know it's very early, we're about a fourth of the season done already. But one of those situations too where you look at it and you have Mike Trout, you have Shohei Ohtani, you put Ohtani in there over the last few years. Mike Trout being his 11th, 12th season and still not made the playoffs. That would be bad for baseball. The Mets hold on to the NL East right now, 37-19. They are dominating as the Braves are only a game above 500. Although the Braves won 5 in a row. Brewers 33-23 in the Central. St. Louis right on their heels at 32-23, and in the NL West, it is 35-19 for the Dodgers. Padres having a great year though, even without Tatis so far, 33-21. Giants 29-24. Diamondbacks and Colorado Rockies are sitting in the rear. We're going to get back into the second period action here momentarily as the players are back on the ice. I think Colorado knows what's at stake right now. They have a 1-0 lead as we're back in the official action in the second period, courtesy of the power play of Cale Makar. You know what's at stake because, again, you don't want to have to play any extra games if you don't have to. And Colorado is going to try to get their second sweep of the playoffs after taking the St. Louis Blues out in 6 in the interim. Here's a chance for Gabriel Landeskog. It's 1-on-1. He needs a nice drop pass across there for Devin Tays. Picks it back up, does Landeskog, throws it around the kick play, takes a heavy hit as this falls back to Cale Makar. Makar now with Tays. Tays into the screen. He got blocked there by Nichushkin in there, involuntary. And then Mikko Rantanen. Rantanen off the backhand, lost it in between 3 Oilers, and now it's a 3-on-2. Connor McDavid trying to buy some time in front of the net. Pass never got to him, though, as this goes back to Colorado now. Here's a chance for Trey Lehkonen. Into the backhand, off the stick of Mike Smith, intercepted there by Rantanen. Now toward the left face-off down the high slot. Makar plays a bouncing puck, spun around now as he's holding off the backhand. This goes back to Tays. Tays into the screen. It goes to the left of Mike Smith's pads and picked up now by Leon Draisaitl. Draisaitl, chance for McLeod as he spun off the left face-off down. He got taking the puck off of Lehkonen. Lehkonen now banks this one off the kick plate. This goes all the way down the ice and Draisaitl again. He got tied up a little bit. I think he had a little bit of that leg. Got a whack taken out, whether it was a puck or anything else. Hopefully you can look at it on the Sportsnet side of things. So as he was trying to battle in for that puck, a couple extra whacks, hit the leg again, and knocked him down. And he just a little bit buckled and tried to get back up. So he is battling through that injury. And that's the first time I've even seen Leon Draisaitl wince. He's looked so good. Again, not as much throughout this series, but I attribute that more to Colorado more than anything else. But he's been so good throughout this entire playoffs playing for the injury. Shot there from Fogle, gets fought out there by Francois. As now this goes toward the left face-off guy. Spun around the kick plate now. Derek Ryan trying to find this one and play this behind Gretzky's office for Fogle. Nice defense there by Bowen Byram that cut off the counter there. And this goes back around to the high slot of the blue line. Shot goes back around the net of Francois. Stick up in the mouth, I think, of one of the Edmonton players, but it wasn't called. I think it was a chance for Fogle as he got worked over. He's still being held against the boards without even having the puck. And now this goes back to Manson, trying to fight through a couple of ships there and some checks. Colorado, 2-on-1 chance. They dropped pass there, but Burakovsky to Rantanen didn't get there. And Burakovsky had his pass get deflected by Mike Smith. This goes back toward the left face-off dog. Sitter in the high slot, and it goes just wide of Mike Smith's glove. JT Compher plays this across now for Nicholas Aubé-Kubel. Driving in front of the net off the backhand and held by Mike Smith. 17:25 left to go in the second period. John on here with you from Edmonton, Alberta. 17-12 on the shot board in favor of the Avalanche, but the all-important one is the first one. That was Cale Makar. About 3:25 in the first period on the power play. Blasted out in front of the blue line. Beat Mike Smith. So for Mike Smith, again, I think it's been a pretty good series all the way through the Stanley Cup playoffs. But Colorado, through all intents and purposes, lying 1-4, they've just simply been better. They are a good team with a lot of depth and some great defense. Mike Smith, what a glove save out in front. as that was Obeke Bell with a blast, and Mike Smith was able to hold. So 18-12 is not the shots. It was a very clean face-off win, right in the high slot. Lets it go. Almost handcuffed Mike Smith as he had to fall down to be able to make that save and hold. And we're going to do this one again. 17-21 left to go in the second period. Hope you're enjoying this contest. Again, I'll be back with you 8:15 p.m. Eastern again, same time, same channel, Colorcast and YouTube. It's going to be Rangers and Lightning in Game 4. That series at 2-1 as the Lightning came back down 2-0, scored 3 in the third, and took the game late with a minute left. Intercepted toward the blue line and kept in there by Colorado, who are trying to get their offensive still going. Edmonton trying to get this out as Zach Hyman got bumped off the puck. This goes back to the giant goal stick of Mike Smith and then played out there by the defense. Kept in at the blue line now. Colorado, Jack Johnson trying to plug this one across to Manson, and now intercepted by Bouchard. Hit off the kick plate to Zach Cassian, and nobody in particular but a Colorado jersey was there. Chant for Newhook. Nice save by Mike Smith with the goal stick. Again, he's been Edmonton's best player right now throughout this game. Zach Hyman. Bounce it to Francois. Francois nicely across the red line. What a pass. Logan O'Connor lets it go. And then went up and on a play off of Mike Smith. 20-12 on the shot board. Mike Smith with a couple of excellent saves against Colorado as they've been able to just turn some pucks over there. O'Connor, Obeke Bell, some great work. Getting it across. Alex Newhook trying to finish that one off to the short side left of the post. And Mike Smith said no. 20 shots to 12 in favor of the Avs. 15-17 on the shot board in favor of the Oilers. They're down 3-0 in this series. Got to get something going. Shot by Manson. Bounces off toward the left dot. Now put in across the blue line, deeper of the cage of Smith. Colorado, very active forecheck right now in this second period. And I love the fact, again, maybe it's because they're earlier lead, you're not feeling so much of that pressure, but they're playing with the lead and they're still playing with intensity. But when they get a luxury of 3 or 4, sometimes they can play a little loose and a little too much defenses. O'Connor and Cassian are coming together there a little bit, throwing some cross checks, but no worse for wear as we get a stoppage with 16:02 left to go in the second period. Again, John out here with you from Rogers Place in Edmonton, Alberta. I'll be with you again tomorrow on the call for Rangers Lightning. That one's going to be in Tampa, Florida at Amalie Arena. It's going to be about 8:15 Eastern as well. So once this series is done, let's say it's a sweep, I should be on every other day to cover the rest of the series between the Lightning and the Rangers. Shouldn't have much going on the weekend as far as it, but the Stanley Cup Finals, I should be here pretty much throughout every game. That's my plan at least, and try to get at least 2 or 3 of those where Cooper Hopkins and I can do a game. And if it's a closeout, at least in the Rangers Lightning, hopefully can join on that, or if it's the Stanley Cup Finals, we'll be calling that closeout game together because I want to see a team lift the cup. That'd be very, very cool. So Brett Kulak now out there with Tyson Berry. Kulak gets us across the red line and slams it across the kick plate. This finds Colorado. They're able to glove this one down, get this across the red line, and Edmonton's going to have a chance to reset here. As Kulak has it again. Kulak holding now toward the right faceoff dot. Tried a slap shot pass. It bounced off of Fogle. Picked back up now by Cece, I believe that was. They mixed the third and first line defense. One of the Edmonton players went down, maybe an inadvertent high stick or a good sell job. Mike Smith didn't know where the puck was, or he lost an edge within his goal crease, but his defenseman still had it the whole time. That was just very odd. Kulak from Barry. Kulak bounced it off his own man. And here comes a chance for Valanciunas as McKinnon lost an edge. So everybody falling all over themselves right now in this second period with 14:45 left. And what a hit on the other side as one of the Oilers players went spinning like a top. When we get that replay, I'll get you that official number. That could have been McDavid on the other side taking that hit. Draisaitl trying to go series of head fakes, get across that red line, picked up now by McDavid. McDavid now. He's back out there in the second period right now with 14:25 left. This falls back to Darnell Nurse. Nurse lost his pass. This goes back to Smith. Smith has it. Draisaitl again. He is struggling to get to the bench a little bit. You can tell he's favoring that right leg. Puljujärvi has left the bench here for Edmonton. So we'll see if there is a double shift there for Holloway on that side for the rookie. You got to have some bodies at this time of year. So a banged up Draisaitl, banged up Puljujärvi, a suspension for Kane. You know, there's some problems here for Edmonton right now as they're down 1-0 in this contest as well with 13:45 left. Puck is in the offensive zone of Edmonton. Shot gets blocked out in front before it hits Francois' Let's Go Oilers chant right now as Nicolas Aubé-Kubel trying to chip and chase this one around Darnell Nurse, and he almost got there to his credit, never gave up on the play. And this went back across the red line as Colorado has it now, kept it on side, goes back there to Andrew Cogliano, got it there from Darren Helm. Helm has it now, holding toward the left face-off dot, off the forehand, couple extra series past Johnson, let's go for the screen, and Mike Smith saw it on the way, gloved it, and held on. 22 shots on goal here for the Colorado Avalanche, just 13 for the Edmonton Oilers. Couple of high sticks and a body thrown down there as Bowen Byram got taken for a wide, and Puljujärvi shook himself up and went to the players' bench. That's who got collided in that bench area. That was Puljujärvi off a chance to get Byram, and he hurt himself. Come right back. We're going to call more of the second period action in a moment.
Pepsi Zero Sugar, the best tasting zero sugar cola. Taste the difference. Hello? Everybody here for the interview? Okay. When do you drive? I got the jet bike. You're overall.
Enterprise isn't just one of the world's largest transportation providers. We're a committed team, helping you get to what matters most: your family, your livelihood, and your next adventure. Getting you there begins with our employees, who are motivated to make a difference for you every day. Around the world and around the corner, in neighborhoods like yours. Connecting you to all the places you love. That's Enterprise. Summer drink days are on at McDonald's McCafe. Try the new peach passion fruit smoothie made with real fruit puree, or a rich, smooth, delicious iced coffee. Enjoy a small McCafe iced coffee for $1 plus tax, or a medium smoothie for $2 plus tax.
Team Canada takes on the world's best in the 2022 World Aquatic Championships. Stream live on CBC Canada starting June 18th. Last day of the Oilers multi-day 50-50 Jaguar partnership. Community Foundation, and there's the number. Over $1.8 million and counting as we sit here partway through the second period. County Oilers shot so far in this period, they have not been credited with a shot on goal. So the shots are 7-0 Avalanche.
So 7-0 advantage in the second period for the Colorado Avalanche on the shot board. It's now blown to 21-12. And Malone got kicked out of the draw there. So there's some extra skaters here dressed for Jay Woodcroft's squad as the Edmonton Oilers still find a way to win that draw. But again, they got to get on the shot board here in the second. They're down 7-0 and they're down a goal. 1-0 in the contest with 13:05 left to go in the second period. Mike Smith banks this one off the kick plate. He bounced it high nicely there, but it went across that blue line. Edmonton, chance now. Hyman lets it go high. I'm looking for the left post. Be able to snipe that one against Francois, but he missed it all. Edmonton still trying to work through his. Hathaway got knocked off the puck, and now this is a chance for Johnson. Get this one down. Cogliano and O'Connor lost it. This goes back McDavid. Turn on the Jets. What a pirouette spin, leaves it across. McDavid missed the net. Oh, what a move that was for Connor. And that was highlight reel material, but he just couldn't finish it off after the pirouette. Draisaitl set it up back and forth and scores! Zach Hyman ties the game for Edmonton, and after that work from Connor McDavid, Hyman finally gets Edmonton on the board in this second period. Their first shot of the second period goes in, beats Francois. We're tied at 1 with 12:21 left. McDavid, pirouette spin there on Byram. He falls down, trying to set up Hyman on the other side. He couldn't hold it. And then Draisaitl, cross pass found Hyman, forehand, backhand. finished it off clean. And we have a new hockey game here at 1-1. Edmonton trying to do the best they can to fight off elimination here. They're down 3-0 in the series. Zach Hyman knots this game at 1. McCarr from Devin Tays turned over there. Draisaitl was able to intercept. Get a chance now for Cassian now. Ryan McLeod trying to play this one out in front. And this goes back to Burakovsky. Burakovsky now Landeskog. There's a meeting. Jordan Landeskog slow to get up. Now Cassian is punching Landeskog as he's down. And I'm more concerned whether or not Landeskog's okay. Again, he got a little bit of a heavy hit on the other side. That did not look good. And Landeskog still has not gotten up here for Colorado. And for a team that had already lost Nazem Kadri, again, Cassian might have took a little bit of an exception to it, but I'm not really sure why in all terms of things. I think Landeskog might have just blown a tire to that left side boards, and he is very, very slow to get up, and he is in pain as he's dropped the stick. So if you're just joining me, Zach Cassian is going to the room. Zach Hyman has just scored for Edmonton. It was a gorgeous pirouette half spin there by McDavid. The first attempt was just missed by Hyman off the back pass, and then Draisaitl picked it up. He found a backhand forehand there for Hyman and finished it off. And Landeskog's very slow to get up, and as he was turtled, Cassian was trying to rough him up and punch him in the face. I don't really like that one because Landeskog, he didn't have really a chance to move. He couldn't do anything. You don't really want to see the captain down like that. Again, when Colorado's already missing Nazem Kadri, so hopefully Landeskog is okay. McKinnon is very upset with the referees, and I would imagine why. Again, it was a defenseless player getting punched right in the face. And even for Zach Cassian, even if Landeskog ends up getting a penalty here, I'm going to take another look at it. So Landeskog and Cassian meet toward the right faceoff dot. And the check, I think Cassian was already going down. He didn't like the fact it was a little bit of a cross check, and he just punched Landeskog right in the mouth, right as he was already turtled and hurt. So either way, Landeskog now is going to the box. Cassian is in the players' room. So the official call here is 2 minutes for holding Zach Cassian against the captain of the Avalanche, Gabriel Landeskog. This is going to put Edmonton on its third power play of the game. They have a chance to go up 2-1. Richard slap shot gets blocked, and he's got to be the first to get to this one now. They're 0 for 2 right now with 4 shots on the power play. Richard going to leave it there for Connor. He's going to turn on the Jets across the red line, trying to enter against 3 Avalanche. Leaves it there for RNH toward the left face-off dot. Chance here for Richard. Back to RNH. McDavid holding in Gretzky's office. Now toward the right dot. In the high slot now, McDavid still on the forehand, circling. Pass out in front. McDavid's got it again. Can't take him off the puck right now. Chance for Tyson Barrie. Back to Draisaitl. Draisaitl toward the right dot. Richard has it in the high slot. Gives it back to Draisaitl now. Draisaitl patient. Still holding. Minute 10 left to go on the power play. Slap shot bombed out in front of the kick plate. Picked up now by Connor. Finds Draisaitl. Richard thought about unloading. Goes back to Draisaitl. Tip by McDavid as this gets picked up by RNH. Zach Hyman. Draisaitl. High slot. Finds McDavid. Backhand forehand now behind the cage. Working his way to the right dot now. Still with the puck. Still on the right dot. 45 seconds left to go as he crisscrosses there. RNH has it the high slot. Trying to leave it there. Richard lets it go through the screen. And it goes wide. Colorado hasn't been able to touch this thing. Edmonton still keeps it alive. Broken stick. Colorado, one of the players. Cogliano doesn't have one. It's pretty much a 2-man advantage now. Picked up now at the blue line. McDavid. Nice series backhand forehand. And now Colorado can get this one out and take a change. Mike Smith can get this outlet pass if he wants it. He does across the red line. McDavid was offsides. So now Colorado can get that broken stick off the ice. They can get everything back to just being square. They still got 12 seconds left to kill on this power play. And on this third power play, it's looking more like the first, where McDavid and Draisaitl have been able to circle. And Colorado's content to let Edmonton skate on the outside. When they get in the middle of that slot, they're not letting them get those chances against Francois. You can skate outside all day, But if you're getting inside, we're going to cut you off. And that's what Colorado's been able to do, as we're just about the halfway mark of the second period at 10:06 left to go. 1-1 is your score. It was McCart early on the power play, and then it was Zach Hyman who knotted it up at 1. The captain, Gabriel Landeskog, is in the box for the Colorado Avalanche for about 12 more seconds, as Jay Woodcroft is just making sure his team is on the same page here with some of these signals. Colorado has to kill off the rest of this. They're going to slap shot this one down across the kick plate. Took a favorable Edmonton bounce as it didn't go all the way down. Now Edmonton can get this one across the red line as they can flutter this one in deep. McLeod tries to get to it. Now this goes back to Connor. Connor is going to lead this across as the Let's Go Oilers chants are going. It's CC and Keith. They lost the puck there. Picked up now by Arturi Lehkonen, and he lost it. Now Edmonton trying to transition across this red line. And this is picked up now by the captain as he's back on the ice. Gabriel Landeskog almost turns it over. Now Edmonton gets a piece of it, keeping at the high side of the blue line. Shot gets blocked before it hits Francois. And here's a chance now, Cassian. Cassian back out of the players' bench and on the ice. There's a chance now for Cassian, and he lost. He tried to find McLeod, but it went all the way down the ice. Mike Smith will come all the way out of the trapezoid to play this one. He's going to leave it there for Cassian. So an extra forward right now out on the spot with 9 minutes left to go in the second period. Got on here with you from Rogers Place. So an extra forward and one less D-man at this point here for Jay Woodcroft's squad. Icing, 8:57 left. It's going to be an offensive zone draw here for Colorado. We come back with Zach Hyman. And out of this one at 1. Edmonton doesn't want to go home just yet. Be right back. We're going to call more of the second period action moment.
Be a part of the action with the BetRivers Sportsbook app. Score big with same-game parlays, where you can combine the excitement of different bets, all from the same game, like the money line, check, hot line, check, and player props, check. Plus, with fast payments including Interact e-transfer, you'll never miss a shift. Download the BetRivers Sportsbook app today on iOS and Android. BetRivers Sportsbook. It's a whole new game.
Hello, Pam.
What are you still doing here?
Job's not done yet.
So that takes 16 hours for it to speed before it's ready, so we can just, call you back.
Yeah, not a chance I let someone put their lips on the beef food before this guy. I'm a stand.
Hey, good night, Justin.
Love you.
I love you too.
Okay.
Nice there first.
Try my French vanilla beans crew for a limited time. Only at St.
It's worth the wait.
Who died? How did they die? And why have their graves gone unmarked for so long? I'm Duncan McHugh. I'm looking for answers. Cuber Island, available now on CBC Listen or wherever you get your podcasts. I see it in my dreams. People die.
Just like Zach Hyman said yesterday, we have to have a Game 7 mindset the rest of the way this series. In the words of Jay Woodcroft, Hyman is effort personified. He has been everything the Oilers could have hoped for and perhaps then some.
Well, there's been some good players in this series for the Edmonton Oilers, even though they're down 3-0, whether it be McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, Kane now with the suspension there for one game. They will get him back for Game 5 if they can get through. Mike Smith has played very, very well, but it's one of those situations for me when I look at it, I'm able to look at it objectively from both sides. The Colorado is just a very, very, very good team. It's been a couple of situations here for Edmonton. They'll take advantage of some of these matchups and this and that, but again, they can't differentiate some of the problems they have from offense, defense, and special teams, goaltending, and things like that throughout the year. Back within the official action right now as this puck goes all the way down the ice. Picked up now. Draisaitl got knocked off the puck. Gets a chance there. Arturi Lehkonen able to get that steal. And now Kulak out there with Tyson Barrie. This goes in toward the right dot and now in the high slot as players are colliding in toward the left side boards. It finds Mike Smith. Kulak trying to get this out. He can't. Nice steal there by Nicholas Aubé-Kubel. Aubé-Kubel holding off the backhand now, trying to find JT Comfer. Comfer Holding now. He's working his way toward the high side blue line, working his way to the slot. Nice set up there for a coffer from Obey Bell, and what a save by Smith. Chance now Manson gets it across. This is McCarr. Plays it into the screen. Smith is down. He shot it wide. And McLeod tried to get this one out, but they can't get it across that blue line right now. Good forechecking there by Comfort, part of that third line. And now here's a chance for Kulak. He leaves it there for Tyson Berry. And Tyson Berry can now finally get this across the red line at least, as this falls back to Kulak. And now pinball off the kick play to Bowen Byron. So 7:30 left to go in the second period. John Hunter with you from Edmonton, Alberta. It's Rogers Place. Colorado has a 3-0 series advantage. They're looking to close it out here on a Monday night and get that long west and await the winner in the eastern part of it, where it's just the Rangers and the Tampa Bay Lightning left, because we're in the final four stages. McCarr holding toward that right dot, finds it behind the cage. This is a chance there for Nichushkin. Nichushkin tried to center this one out in front. Couldn't find McKinnon. And now maybe here's a breakout here for Connor McDavid. Here's a chance. He has Hyman. Off the backhand side, he got canceled off nicely, but McDavid still got it. Draisaitl. He's got it at the trapezoid marker. This goes back now toward the blue line side, and this tries to find McDavid once more. He's toward the right dot. Centered it out in front, and the shot goes wide. Francois didn't know where it was momentarily. And now this goes down across the red line. Icing's waved off. Mike Smith is going to go all the way back to play this one and leave it for Darnell Nurse. So it's Darnell Nurse and Cody Ceci on the first line defense now. He's going to play it there to his defensive partner. And Rantanen is the lone forechecker here. Intercepted by Colorado in their own end as they can set this one up. And it gets it out. Rantanen with a nice kick ahead, trying to get a chip and chase there now. Intercepted. It's a 2-on-2. Zach Cassian trying to play this on the kick play to Fogle. Fogle made off with a cross check there. Cassian trying to get around Taze. Bounced off the kick play. Bomb out in front. Gets blocked there by Arturi Lekanen off of Bouchard blast. This goes behind Gretzky's office now with Zach Cassian. Cassian trying to spin and hold, but he can't get around Devin Taze. Chance here now for Fogle. Trying to find it now. Trying to get centered out in front. And what a stop there by Francois with the left pad, as that was a slot shot all the way, and Francois probably made his best save of the game right now to be able to keep this knotted at one. It was Fogle right out in front of Malone. Malone couldn't lift it, and he just hit the outside of the cage. Come right back. We're going to call more of the second period action in a moment.
Canadian Angus beef. Raised without hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. And times any way you like. Grab your Canadian tops. Harvey's Angus Burger is worth dressing up for. Try the new Angus Barbecue Bacon Ringer Melt, only at Harvey's.
There are no limits to how high you can go, how far you'll take it at the Jeep No Limit Sales Event. Get into a Jeep Wrangler and choose from our extensive inventory. Or Jeep Grand Cherokee. Select owners get up to $4,000 in total discounts, plus a 1% finance rate reduction. The Jeep No Limits Event, where adventure has no limits.
They say less is more, but we believe more is more. That's why we built our sportsbook app for Ontario with more ways to bet, more ways to fund your account, more ways to cash in, and more ways to cash out. With payouts delivered straight to your bank account in as little as 2 hours. You want more Ontario? You got it. FanDuel Sportsbook is now available in Ontario. Download FanDuel Sportsbook today.
The one thing that they haven't been able to do that effectively through the first 3 games is open up the neutral zone. There's a long stretch pass that gets things started before the Hyman goal. Comes back again. A little bit of a late change by the Avalanche, and Draisaitl able to make that play and send in
Back into the official action right now, about 5:25 left to go in the second period. We are knotted at one of this Stanley Cup playoffs Western Conference final. The Colorado Avalanche up 3-0 against the Edmonton Oilers. They're looking to punch their ticket to the Stanley Cup finals. Edmonton Oilers just trying to stave off elimination here in Game 4. Colorado looking for their second sweep of the playoff campaign so far. Again, the only team that gave them any kind of trouble was the St. Louis Blues, in which they won in 6. They won Game 6 in Enterprise. This goes back to Colorado right now, as this goes for Lehkonen. He's going to get this one in deep, and it finds Darnell Nurse. Landeskog trying to get to it right now. This gets turned over, picked up across the red line now by Edmonton. They're trying to transition to get some offense here. Zach Hyman has the goal in the second period. Got knotted it at 1. And that's the only goal we have. We had 1 goal in the first from Cale Makar, and 1 goal in the second from Zach Hyman. This goes back down to Brett Kulak. He finds Leon Draisaitl. Here's a chance now. Draisaitl turning on the Jets for the right face up, out trying to find up a check of Darren Helm. This goes back to Kulak now. Kulak trying to get across that red line. Helm plays it out in front nicely here. And here's a chance for O'Connor. Nice breakout pass. Try to find Lehkonen out in front, and somebody's very slow to get up, and that is Draisaitl. He is hobbling toward the players' bench right now. We've already seen that a couple times, but now he is very, very, very hunched over. As play still continues, if Sportsnet tracks any of that stuff, I will bring that information to you as soon as I hear of it. Chance now for Fogle. Fogle holding and toward the high slot, trying to get around 4 different Avalanche. Cece with a shot. Makar lost his stick right out of his hands. Couple of shoulder shrugs there about any kind of call. And Draisaitl got his head down. He is in heavy, heavy pain right now. I would have to assume that has more to do with the leg and everything else like that, unless he took a shot block and any other part of it. Draisaitl, target on him there. Helm, cross-check right into that leg. And Draisaitl falls down like a sack of potatoes and drops the glove. So they are all over Draisaitl right now as he is just hobbling to get back in the bench. And Keith had a chance one-on-one there with Francois, and that was a great save. And Makar got the stick knocked out of his hand, but there was no call on that end of it. So 24-16 on the shot board. Colorado's got their goal courtesy of Cale Makar in the first in the power play. And then Zach Hyman in the second period answered for Edmonton. 16 shots for Edmonton. Shot into the screen. Bouchard couldn't find anybody. Colorado gets this one down. Bouchard trying to get to this one first. He does. He plays it out in front, and goes a chance for Holmes. He couldn't find it there. Picked up now by Colorado across the red line. Devin Tays has it now toward the left face-off dot as Colorado's going to look to reset this thing. Trying to find it across the blue. Devin Tays now lost it. One-on-one chance. Nugent Hopkins scores! Gets a convenient steal. One-on-one with the goaltender. And Edmonton has the lead for the first time in Game 4. RNH makes it 2-1. And that was a spectacular goal off a brutal, brutal giveaway. Devin Tays was all alone. He tried to play a pass across. I think he tried to find Cale Makar. Took off too early. And RNH, it went from Makar to Tays. It was just bounced off the kick plate. Miscommunication there. RNH makes them pay. 2-1 Edmonton. What a time for a clutch goal. And through all the pain, it was a momentary celebration there for Draisaitl. And I can't help but feel for him there. He is very, very much in pain. RNH makes it 2-1. So 2:50 left to go in this second period. Edmonton had just scored. McDavid, centering pass off the bar. Picked up now by McDavid. Spinning. He's turning on the Jets. He's in behind Gretzky's office. Played a centering pass out in front. And I think it bounced up and out of play. So after they just scored, courtesy of RNH, they just hit the bar as McDavid was trying to make something happen. 2:35 left to go in this second period. Now all of a sudden, Edmonton Oilers, man, they just hit the bar again after RNH had just scored. It is now 2-1 with a little over 2.5 minutes left to go in this second period. So how things can change quickly when you get just a little missed pass on the other side of things, they can turn around quick. 24-17 is the shot board right now. Edmonton has scored 2 straight goals in this second period, and they're looking for more. Getting kicked out of the draw there was Malone. So another chance here for Edmonton. Again, if there was another kick out, that would be an automatic minor. Fogle lost it as this went in between the skates, but Tyson Berry was able to find it. Josh Manson got punished there by Malone. Nugent Hopkins with his 6th of the playoffs as it was unassisted. It was just a turnover there from Makar to Taves, and it turned into a goal. 2:15. Nicholas Aubé-Kubel trying to get around it. O'Connor trying to get around it as well. Colorado just trying to find this thing and recompose themselves. Newhook lost it. Malone came all the way back. 200-foot game. Try to intercept this thing. There's only a 2-minute mark left to go in this second period. Edmonton is taking their first leading game 4. And do we have a penalty against Colorado for playing the puck over the glass? A big-time cross-check. One of the Colorado players wanted to go against Zach Kassian. I don't think that bid is going to come all the way across, but let's take another look at the Sportsnet feed of it. Kassian had a run right into Josh Manson, and Manson said, you know what, you want to take this with the fists, we can do this right now if you want, and Kassian did not accept the invitation. And I want to know still if there's going to be a penalty here. Edmonton fans, 1-1. It looked like the puck might have went over the glass. According to them, I have not seen the official call just yet. Edmonton is on the power play. What is this going to be? Alex Newhook is in the box. So this is a power play. For all intents and purposes, that's going to pretty much take all the time away in the first period because it's a 2-second difference on the shot board on the Chiron here. So delay of game, Alex Newhook throws it over the glass. That's indeed what it was. And Edmonton can try to get 3 straight goals and make themselves feel a little bit better to get a 2-goal advantage if they can get it done. Connor McDavid weaving his way into the bowling pins, plays it off the skate, centered out in front, stopped there by Francois. And now RNH gets it now back from McDavid, trying to save it there. Tyson Berry finds McDavid once more. We'll see if Draisaitl is on the ice in this shift. Berry tried to play this one across. Draisaitl is on the ice as he crisscrosses with McDavid. Berry now has it. Still in the high slot, leaves it there for RNH toward the right dot. Now it goes back to Draisaitl. Draisaitl toward that right dot, trying to find Berry, and now Draisaitl plays it across. RNH lets it go, scores! Edmonton, 3 straight goals, and that was RNH that found McDavid. 3-1 Edmonton. 3 straight goals for the Oil Kings here as they're trying to do their best to stave off elimination. Connor McDavid makes it 3-1. The captain gets it done. And everybody on their feet and celebrating. And again, those are just penalties that Colorado can't afford to take in certain situations, like we talked about in some of the other games with these holdings or delay of games and things like that. You go ahead and you put a unit that's very, very good on the power play. Look, we understand in all marks that this series could very much be over already with a 3-0 as a shot right on gets stopped by Francois as the camera just cut. But still, you put the Edmonton Oilers on the power play for all intents and purposes, like I talk about with offense, defense, goaltending, and all of that. Make no mistake about it, however this series ends, there's still some issues that need to be addressed here with Edmonton as far as those chasms of point totals, as far as trying to figure things out between CC and Keith and getting some better defense, figuring out the situations between Mike Smith and Mikko Koskinen, a 40-year-old and a 35-year-old goaltender, respectively. But putting these guys on the power play with McDavid and Draisaitl, I don't care how hobbled Draisaitl is, they're going to find a way to get it done. McDavid with his 10th of the playoffs. He's got it fresh off the steal now. As Draisaitl and Berry with the point totals here of the assists. Colorado shut out in front, stopped there by Mike Smith. And again, Mike Smith hasn't really been tested too much after the first 7 shots of this second period went to him. Chance here. Hyman off the backhand, stopped there by Francois. But it's one of those situations where you put Edmonton on the power play and things can change in an instant. 3 straight goals for the Oilers here in the second period, and we'll have some things to talk about in this second intermission. Byram trying to play this out in front. Edmonton has it in their defensive zone, and that should do it here for the second period. One last rush. And McDavid's not going to turn the Jets. He's going to take his change. And that's it after 2. Edmonton up 3-1. 3 unanswered goals. Connor McDavid with the latest. RNH with the steal off the turnover. And it's 3-1 after 2. When we come back, we'll enjoy that second intermission. I'll put some thoughts in there to get these goals typed in, and we'll call that third period action in a moment.
Find vegetable style. Refresh.
If there is anyone in the chat section, let me know. I know the chat thing keeps moving up and down, but I don't see anybody in here, so don't know if those numbers are accurate or not.
Introducing the 2022 Chevrolet RS lineup. Find new style. Find new roads. Ontario, it is on. DraftKings Sportsbook has arrived. Now you can bet on all your favorites. From playoff hockey and to MMA and baseball. Bet same-game parlays, spread, money, props, and more. And do it anytime, anywhere with Robin. So get excited, Ontario. DraftKings Sportsbook is live. Download the app and make it great.
Hello, Pam.
What are you still doing here?
Job's not done yet.
So that takes 16 hours for a speed sports ready so we can call you back.
Yeah, not a chance I let someone put their lips on the beat before this guy. I'm a fan.
Okay. Good night, Justin.
Love you.
I love you too.
Okay.
Nice there.
Try my French vanilla beans crew for a limited time. Only at Stanley.
It's worth the wait.
The TD Aeroplan Visa Infinite Card. For a limited time, earn up to 45,000 bonus Aeroplan points that you can share with family. So you can go together. The TD Aeroplan Visa Infinite Card. Get benefits you can share with those who matter most. TD, ready to help you move forward. You know the joy. On June 17th, the actual bonfire in the flag. Discover his story. This is my mistake. We have to get everyone home. Disney Pixar. Infinity Beyond. Disney Pixar's Lightyear. Only theaters June 17th.
At TBC Windsor, we are your source for the latest information. Free time everywhere, and here, online, radio, TV, we have original stories that you won't find anywhere else. In the city and the county, we are your source for what's happening now, the latest news. Downtown Windsor is going up.
Be a part of the conversation.
TBC Windsor is in your community, asking the tough questions that you want answered.
So the Avalanche are taking 4 penalties. The Oilers have just taken 1. That's kind of why you can look at it from the offshoot, not even watching this game, and saying, hey, Edmonton's finding a way to be able to get through, and Colorado's kind of made a few mistakes here. And they've had some goals put in the back of their net because of it. The latest one was Alex Newhook, 2 minutes for clearing the puck over the glass, delay of game there. And Connor McDavid scored on the power play. They did the 4 marks, just by Tyson Berry and Leon Draisaitl.
Hey fans, your tweet could become etched in history at the Hockey Hall of Fame. Tweet the hashtag Stanley Tweets and tell us what winning a Stanley Cup would mean to you.
Welcome to the second intermission. Time for Inside the Game, brought to you by the GMC Terrain AT4 and Elevation. The Edmonton Oilers exploded for 3 goals in the second period on the power play, and they lead 3-1. And with Kevin Bieksa, Elliot Friedman, and Kelly Rudy, and Kelly, a couple of things here. Goaltending at both ends. Yes. So for the Avs first, I think it's a great opportunity to get Kemper. I think because of the time he's missed, Francouz has done his job. He's done his duty. He went 5-0 without Kemper, but right now I don't think he was great.
So Kelly Rudy is saying they should go ahead and put in Darcy Kemper. I didn't even know Darcy Kemper was actually available. I thought he was going to miss most of the playoffs, they were saying. He's saying that Kemper is ready to go, and he should play most of this third period because It's not been very good on the other side. That's news to me. To me, on the other side, I think Colorado's had a couple of egregious turnovers. That's how I would see it, and some stupid penalties that have kind of put Edmonton in the driver's seat. That's just the way I look at it, but I'm surprised. You said that Francois hasn't played that great. But, I mean, you can't give breakaways and dumb penalties for clearing the glass twice.
In a game like this, right, when you're already down 3-0 in the series, and you feel the pressure, right? You understand the Avs feel really good about themselves, and good job.
Let me start by saying the building was rocking that period. It was so loud. It was the loudest building in the NHL. But the two goals were really got it going. And let's do a little bit of a breakdown here. We're going to watch this first goal. We're going to watch it at live speed. And at live speed, what you see is a quick up pass, and this is what Simmer showed. And you see what should be a 3-on-2, but Landeskog plays it really weird. So on second look, you take a look, and what happened is Byron right here, he's going to change, but not right away. So when Landeskog passes him, Byron's behind him. There's nothing that Landeskog would think that Byron's changing in this moment now. So when this puck gets quick up, Landeskog assumes that Byron is still back in this position. He thinks this is a 3-on-3. Look, he's not even looking over behind him. It's clearly open. He's playing Connor, the drive guy, and assuming that D is still there. But as you can see, it's Taves, and Taves can't get out of time. Right here, this is the Adam Foote school of defending. When this pass hops over Taves' stick, it's a back bounce. But Paul Byron should always be recovering to the middle defenseman. When the puck is moved, whether it's you or your partner, your first step should always be to the middle. Adam Foote was in Denver for game 2. Maybe they can have a conversation after. But Byron has been awesome all playoffs, right? This is just a learning tool. It's really good.
Ode to Draisaitl, 1631 tonight, and he's gutting it out. You can really see he's got 2 assists, and I really thought after one of these shifts he was done. I should have known better. Every time there's contact, like look at this, it's just hard for him to get back going. Every time he goes to the bench, he looks like he's in agony. This play here, it's just, I thought actually for a second there that McDavid was trying to help him back, and then he gets hit. But just everything this guy is doing, lost Pugliarvi, Kane is suspended, he knows they need him, and he's just refusing to leave the game. And after all that,
I would hope through the warrior mentality and all that stuff for Draisaitl, he's not playing through something that can't be recovered in the off season. Again, they can't really worry about that at this point, but he's so damn important, Draisaitl, to the Edmonton Oilers. I hope he's not playing anything that could get much worse.
no chance he's leaving. He's not looking at the trainer. He's like, I'm in pain, but I'm going nowhere. Like, I'm in it.
In a funny way, Pugliarvi leaving just clears the air for them to continue to play over and over again. He's played 16-31. He's 8-1 on draws, and the other energy guys, right? So, and then the Fogle line. That's right. And Fogle, by far, other than McDavid and Draisaitl and those guys that you always expect, Hyman, Fogle to me has been the star of this game. 8 hits, as you mentioned to me, Ron. Just watch this line now. It's been 5 different guys. So there's Fogle. He's playing with Ryan. He's playing with McLeod, Cassian, Malone. All these guys are all interchangeable, but they're all playing the right way. And take a look how pressure. They get it down low, and they are just relentless. This is how you turn a game around. And this was, to me, the difference between the first period where the others didn't have this kind of energy, they didn't have this kind of zone time, and these 5 guys provided it, and it led to a number of scoring chances. One nice one there, and then we're going to see another one. Fogel's going to continue to drive hard, and then they continue to get a play right here to Duncan Keith. Nice scoring opportunity. Cassian with that big hit on U-Hook, and that was Kevin.
Well, look at Cassian's side. This was his penalty on his first shift, the slashing on the hands of Johnson, and that ends up in the back of the net. This was his next shift. He gets away with that. Look at the referee right there, because he knows that was borderline, and then this was the tangle up in Landeskog, and he actually draws a penalty, but then he puts Landeskog in a bit of a chokehold, Connor McGregor and Cruz, and he's lucky he didn't get a penalty there. Then he gets Manson from behind. Lucky he doesn't get a penalty there. Manson's going to follow him up the ice, and then after the play here, they're going to come to it right here, and Manson's going to say, your stick's too long for you. Let me chop it in half. So he tries to slash it there, and Cassian shows a little bit of strength. So he's all over the place tonight. He's playing on the line, but he's got to be careful. But so far, very effective.
Like, that's what I was going to ask you, because after he took the penalty the first shift, I was wondering, would Woodcroft just say, I can't use it? like 9 minutes already. Yeah, and so I mean it's a gamble that's paid off, no question.
Colorado's trailed by 2 goals just once in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Game 2 against the St. Louis Blues. They're in that 2-goal hole right now. Zach Hyman has scored his 10th.
Well, there really isn't much I can say here, even for much of the Edmonton haters, if there is such a thing, or if they're out there right now. In terms of, again, I can say it for the hit against Nazem Kadri. I definitely throw that up for Evander Kane. You're not going to get my blessing on that one. But for Leon Draisaitl, man, he's been excellent in this game right now. So 3 goals in the second period to talk about. Zach Hyman at the 7:39 mark is 10th of the playoffs. And Darnell Nurse and Leon Draisaitl 22nd assists of the postseason. Hyman had a chance where it got passed right out in front, a couple times by McDavid off the pirouette. Couldn't find Hyman on the first one. Then Draisaitl gets Hyman, just busting him right in the middle of the slot. Finish it off. Backhand, forehand. At the 7:39 mark, tie the game at 1. Then RNH, it was a turnover situation where Makar tried to find Taze after a reset there. There was a miscommunication in behind the reset at, let's look at it, the 16:57 mark, where RNH was just able to say, hey, now I got a clean turnover here. Let me go ahead and put a couple moves there on Francois and finish it off. 2-1. Edmonton takes the lead for the first time here in Game 4. And then just a bad penalty for Newhook for delay of game over the glass. Connor McDavid scores his 10th of the postseason on the power play. Draisaitl gets his 23rd from Tyson Barrie, the 4th. Finished that one off right out in front. McDavid, Draisaitl, as easy as you like. McDavid finishes it at the right faceoff dot. It is 3-1. And again, I can't say much more about Leon Draisaitl that hasn't already been said. Because of Puljujärvi having to go back to the bench now because of the injury. Vander Kane suspended for this game. Draisaitl's been pretty much triple shifted by Jay Woodcroft, or double shifted if you want to say that at least, where he's playing through pain in that right leg, and Colorado's doing the best that they can to target that and limit his effectiveness. And he's absolutely warriored this thing all the way through to a 3-1 lead so far for the Edmonton Oilers. Leon Draisaitl has been excellent, per usual, just like McDavid. But the only thing I'm concerned about, again, you can't think of it in this instance because Edmonton's fighting for the playoff lives. I would hope, for the sake of Edmonton and their future, between the coaches, trainers, and everything else, they know what he's playing with as far as that right leg injury, and they do not allow this thing to get any worse if he plays through it. Again, I understand this game is important, and you're playing with elimination. But if you lose anything for Draisaitl as far as longevity purposes, that would be exceptionally bad for Edmonton.
A new survey shows hunger is growing in this country. A quarter of Canadians surveyed by Food Banks Canada say they don't eat enough because they can't afford to. The organization says many food banks are bracing for their toughest summer yet.
Alberta had the advantage of waking up sooner and identifying the challenge of learning recovery.
Millions of dollars are being invested in education to help students catch up from pandemic learning, but plans vary widely from province to province, and every expert we consulted agreed they're far too big. During the playoffs, you can always find us on CBC News Network and CBC Gem every hour starting at 9 p.m. Eastern. See you after this.
Rogers Moments gave Hunter and Mattia the chance to cheer on their Oilers live in the Western Conference Finals, plus the ultimate behind-the-scenes experience. For your chance to win exclusive experiences like this all playoffs long, including a VIP trip to the 2022 Stanley Cup Final. Enter now at Rogers.com/Stanley Cup.
Back to the rink we go now. Kyle Bukowskis and Mikko Rantanen.
You guys seem to be in complete control of this game through the opening 20. How did this one get away from you a little bit there in the second?
I just didn't think just puck play, and maybe one chance they got that breakaway. But if you give a skilled team 2 breakaways, it's not the defense you want to play. So I think that's obviously what hurt us there.
You've come back on the road before these playoffs. What's it going to take to do so again here tonight?
Just get back to how we play, you know, our identity, and just keep it simple. You know, I think we're trying a little bit too much, maybe, and not executing as well as we should be. So those are pretty key if you want to come back. So thank you for the time. Thank you, Ron.
You can see a prescription for breath too there, Kyle. A lot of energy as the Oilers roll. Leons, you know out there the no money miracle? Well, you pay us the price.
Big way for the first ever Chevrolet Silverado ZR2. Multimatic shocks, rugged 33-inch tires, and front and rear electronic locking differentials. Dude, this is awesome, but we should get back to work. That's good. Perfect. If you're going to work remote. Find new workspaces. Find new roads. Chevrolet.
Oh my god. It's got my name on it. I don't think I did anything with my name on it. But thank you.
Lemons, lemons, lemons. The world is so full of lemons. When you become an Expedia member, you can instantly start saving on your travels. So you can go and see all those lemons for less.
NMGM is here. And we've attached. Be ready to begin with sports. And now, we are in the action. This is your shot.
Canada's best athletes make a splash in the world of aquatics, facing their toughest competitors, going for gold, diving into the action, dominating the waves above or below the surface, where strength meets grace. The World Aquatics Championships, June 18th to July 3rd on CBC and CBC Gem.
I own the sled and I don't get any of your permission to be here, John.
I've been expecting you. We're paid to.
We're a self-sufficient community prepping for the end of the world. You're serious?
That day prepping isn't cheap.
It's been a good effort by a desperate team in the Edmonton Oilers right now, being shorthanded again. No Evander Kane again, that's their own fault. And in terms of, I said this a lot with Nazem Kadri, he's out probably for the rest of the playoffs, so I would imagine Evander Kane should have got plenty more than 1 game suspension. That's just me. But will Jesse Pugliarvi also going back into the players' room? You have Leon Draisaitl on the end of it pretty much getting double and triple shifted at times. And he has been absolutely exceptional right now, as Edmonton's doing everything they possibly can to be able to stave off elimination. But I will say this, Colorado has shot themselves in the foot a couple times with some stupid delay of game penalties and a couple of turnovers there that have turned things around in the other direction for Edmonton. So as we're back in the official action right now, it's the beginning of the third period. Edmonton scored 3 unanswered goals in that second period. Again, Colorado has been in this situation before a couple of times where they can play well from behind and find a way to tie this up. So Colorado, they're not out of this by any stretch of the imagination, as they want to do what they can to finish this series off tonight. Nichushkin letting it go to the screen. McKinnon gets knocked down in front of the net. And Edmonton trying to stay with this thing. Finds Devin Tays. Into the screen, scored! Tipped by McKinnon, and Colorado scores just like that to begin this third period, as we talked about. So that is exactly what Colorado needed. No chance there for Mike Smith. And I believe this is going to be McKinnon's goal. It got bounced back there. And Nichushkin tried to keep this alive. Somehow found it there. Devin Tays put it on, and it was tipped in front by McKinnon. So Colorado now within one. So that's exactly what the Colorado Avalanche needed right now. And they've gotten exactly what they needed. As we said in the opening of this third period, this game is not over by any stretch of the imagination. And for all of the goodwill that Edmonton has put toward themselves in this game, that's a heady effort. They're playing without a couple players. Again, some of that stuff is their own doing with Evander Kane. But Jesse Puljujärvi having to miss some time now being hurt. And then now with the situation of Leon Draisaitl just getting hit in that right leg over and over and over again. He's just battling him a double and triple shift through this thing. So Nathan McKinnon's going to get that goal most likely. I'll give you the official word here in a moment. Players collide toward that left side of the faceoff dot, and Mike Smith will come out of the goal crease to play this one as we've hit the first minute mark of this third period. Again, my board on the chat section is not appearing. Sometimes it says people in, sometimes it says people are out. So if you want to engage in the chat, just let me know. On the other side, here we go again. It is the Colorado Avalanche and Johnson spinning off. He's being bothered by Zach Cassian. But Colorado happy to take their time now as they've gotten this within one. Across the red line now. Intercepted. Keith lets it go. And Francois found it and saved it. So very interesting for me in the second intermission. I talked about it with Kelly Hurdy a little bit in the sense of he thought that Darcy Kemper should already be playing in this game. Francois did his job. He thinks he's healthy enough to play. I didn't hear that. I heard that from Jared Bednar that he wasn't going to be available to go throughout at least the rest of this series. Kelly Hurdy said something otherwise, so it makes me believe whether or not Francois is available. Maybe if he is, if Darcy Kemper is available, maybe he'll get that time. If they lose this game and go back to Ball Arena for Game 5, then it could be Kemper in net, but I didn't even hear about that. So it's Draisaitl against Helm. So the fourth line against the second here. Helm waiting for the Zebras to jump the puck. He got knocked off of it a couple times. Draisaitl wins it clean. Edmonton's been excellent in the dot. Cassian tipped out in front and great save there by Francois. So 18:24 left to go in this third period. John on here with you. In Rogers Place, McKinnon just made this a one-goal game. It is now 3-2. And that was a good tip there in front by Hyman, and Francois saw it all the way. So Hurdy thought that Francois hadn't played all that well, but I was kind of in the impression that some of those penalties and things put against Colorado of their own doing with these delay of games and these turnovers are causing them to make some big saves one-on-one, which you couldn't do, but you shouldn't have to ask your goalie to make breakaway saves over and over again. So I didn't really buy that analogy, but again, I'm not biased here, but I just didn't really think he played all that poorly. Mike Smith either on the other side. I think it's just been a great effort by the Edmonton Oilers here. A little bit short man, again, by some of their stuff in their own doing by Evander Kane, but they've got a 3-2 lead right now as they're trailing in this series 3-0, trying to buy some time to keep it alive. So McDavid in through 3 checks. That was McKinnon and Taves able to get that one down. McKinnon trying to find this now. He plays it ahead as this goes back to Bowen Byram now. Nichushkin trying to be the first one to get there, but it's going to be nice and cold. Against the Avalanche, so Edmonton's going to have a chance for an offensive zone draw. And I can't say enough about Leon Draisaitl and his effort in this contest. We always talk about Connor McDavid and Draisaitl for good reason, but Draisaitl taking so many hits to that right leg in this game, particularly in Game 4, still coming out there, just fighting through it, not letting the trainers or anyone else take him out of it. He's fought through like crazy, and it's been a good effort. So now 17-50 left to go in this third period. A face-off is won there by the Colorado Avalanche. Try to be the first to get to this now as this goes back to Bouchard. Bouchard plays a cross pass, turned over, and the shot was blocked off. Sturm had a bid, and Mike Smith said no. And Byram enters off sides. So that was a little dangerous there once again. Mike Smith able to bail out the Edmonton defense for turning that one over, and that was just a really bad pass and a lot of contests. And again, that was Puljujärvi, so he just came back on the ice. He missed all of the second period. Landis got the captain at a bid, and Mike Smith bailed him out. So that was one of those ones where you just can't make those mistakes, and there's been a couple of those, but for most of them, they've been on the Colorado side. but Mike Smith made the save. This goes back now behind the cage of Smith. Almost picked off, but now Edmonton can finally reset this thing as McLeod can get this one down across the red line. This is Francois, plays this with the giant goal stick, try to find Manson. Turned over there at the blue line. Kept in now by Ryan, but it's offsides. Against McLeod, and we're going to do this once more with 10:14 left to go in the 10:14. My apologies. I'm looking at the time of Eastern Standard. It's 7:14 left to go in the third period. My apologies. It was 3 straight goals for the Edmonton Oilers in the second period. Hyman from 7:30, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins from 16:57, and Connor McDavid on the power play from 18:54. And then the long goal in the third period came 31 seconds, and it is Devin Tays shorthanded from Gabriel Landeskog and Cale Makar. I wonder if that's going to be changed a little bit, but that's what I see right now officially. Picked up now by Edmonton in their own end as Johnson has it now. So Johnson tried to play this out ahead, and Mike Smith instead will come out of the goal crease to go play this one. Almost gets picked off there by Colorado. They need some help, and this is a chance now for Fogle to try to play this one ahead as Edmonton's trying to just get situated and break out between the left center and the right to get space, but they couldn't do it. Nicolas Aubé-Kubel keeps us alive across the red line. It falls back to Edmonton. There's a pirouette and a crisscross. There's Cassian with a long shot. Stopped there by Francois, and this goes back to Devin Tays. Let's go Oilers. Chants are alive and well right now at Rogers Place. They're just trying to get 3-1 in this series right now. They're down 3-0. Nathan MacKinnon, backhand, forehand, holding him toward the left slot, and a cross pass that was a little messy there. Connor McDavid turning on the Jets. He's up to the long drive, cross pass, scores! That was another turnover there by Colorado, and you can't have that there. Nathan MacKinnon played it into nobody in particular. It was McDavid to Draisaitl to Hyman. Hyman's got his second, and Shuskin comes close to the players' bench there with Evan Bouchard. He wants to exchange some words, and I don't know what Nathan MacKinnon was looking at, in all honesty. And it was just easy as you like. All the way across the board from McDavid to Draisaitl to Hyman. Beautiful pass toward the left dot. Roofed it toward the right side of the top post. No chance there for Francois. That was a perfect goal off a very poor giveaway by the Avalanche. So again, with all the situations and talking about in the second intermission about Francois with Kelly Hurdy, how do you stop those? You stop those by not making careless mistakes with the puck and turning it over. Colorado has not played their best game. That's just me, though. Zach Hyman with his 11th of the playoffs, assisted by Draisaitl and McDavid. Who else? Tyson Barrie into the screen, blocked out in front. So now it's 4-2. Chance now for Gagliano. He's got it in behind the trapezoid, trying to get picked up there by Kulak. Into the high slot. Tays, let it go. Mike Smith saw it all the way. Made the save. 15:29 left to go in the third period. Hyman's got his second. Draisaitl, gorgeous feed. And a bouncing puck that was rocketed to Hyman makes it 4-2. Man, we've seen some excellent goals, but these excellent goals, again, they've just come from some turnovers that can't happen. And these goalies, you can't ask them to make the save every single time. And I just don't think you can put a lot of that blame there on Francois. And even some of the stuff on Mike Smith for a couple of those, I see maybe one goal apiece on both sides that could have been stopped. But, I mean, that's being kind. Centered out in front there for a chance. And Mike Smith said no off the bid. I believe that was Comfer. This goes back in there now. Rantanen also trying to get in there. Try to pry this loose. Rantanen got shaken up a little bit toward the right side dot. Rantanen now. And behind Gretzky's office, trying to center this one out in front, and it was stopped by the goal stick of Mike Smith as it went up and behind the net. Bouchard transitions this one down. This goes to Zach Cassian. He's cut off by Devin Tays. Now, Tays trying to spin with it. Colorado again down by 2, trying to get something going. Devin Tays lost it. Good forechecking there by the Edmonton Oilers and Cody Ceci as he got knocked down in his heavily padded wall there with Darnell Nurse. Colorado trying to find this toward the left side faceoff dot. Gets wrestled down as one of the Avalanche-Oilers. Let's go. Oilers chant is again alive and well at Rogers Place. They played very well in this game. There's some turnovers as well. O'Connor, his shot got fought off and he got stick aside quickly there by Mike Smith. This could be a breakout. Hyman, here's a chance. McDavid, nice hold off there by the Colorado Avalanche defense. Beautifully, Kel McCarr went step for step with McDavid. That could not have been easy. Knocked him off the puck. Centered out in front. And the pass couldn't get across there to Colorado. Mike Smith was down and out. Draisaitl turning on whatever jets he can on that injured right leg. Hyman trying to work off. Landeskog will spin. The captain's got it now toward the right dot in his own end. This goes across the red line. It's turned over once again. The Oilers with the active forecheck. Landeskog has it now toward the right dot. 13:30 left to go in this third period. It's 4-2 Oilers. They've scored the last 3 out of 4 here. Manson trying to get this. He gets tripped up there nicely. Picked up in front behind Gretzky's office. Hyman trying to merge with Puljujärvi. Intercepted there by Keith. Keith got smoked there by Helm. Picked up now by Taze. Fought off there once more. This was Puljujärvi with a toe drag. And he was fought off there by Cogliano and Sturm as it went across the red line now. Keith has it. The former Chicago Blackhawk plays this across the Oilers logo. And this goes up and out of play. So Francois doesn't even have to deal with it. 12:54 left to go in this third period. The Chuskin, big time shot. Quickly just sticked ahead there alertly by Smith. It went to a 3-on-1. And McCarr just stayed with McDavid to be able to knock that chance away. When we come back, we're going to call more of the third period action in a moment.
What if the future of banking wasn't a bank? Neo Financial. It's time for new. Hey babe, can't even that.
Well, you can't look at the ESPN Chiron as far as the score and all that stuff because it is totally wrong and not updated correctly. So I'm going to see if that initial goal at the end of it in the third period was deflected or if Nathan McKinnon got a piece. But as far as that, it's the only thing I'm unsure of at this moment. It's a 4-2 score line. So we won't look at the ESPN Chiron side of it for their box score because that is all jacked up at the moment here. So we're going to get back into the official action right now. It is a neutral zone ice draw here. This is McLeod. For the Edmonton side of things, he lost it. This goes back to Colorado right now. It is 4-2 with 12:45 left to go in the third period. On the Sportsnet side feed that I'm watching, on the ESPN box score online, it's a little bit discombobulated there, so we'll try not to look at that one too much. Kel McCarr lost it there. This gets picked up now by Edmonton. It's a 4-on-3 coming back the other way, but Kel McCarr went all the way back in his own to pick this one up before McLeod can get there. McCarr being worked over there. RNH trying to get around Confer. He cannot as we're down at 12:15 left to go in the third period. Again, Edmonton just trying to stave off elimination here. It is 31 shots to 24 in favor of Colorado, but Edmonton's got a to lead. Richard lets one go way wide to the left side glass as this goes across the red line now. Here's a chance for Edmonton to try to get this one out. McDavid lets it go, and it gets a right pad save toward the 5-hole of Francois. Cut off now toward the red line side, and Colorado needs to get something going. Burakovsky trying to find Arturi Lehkonen. Lehkonen with a cross pass. This goes in behind the cage somehow as it fell back to Burakovsky. Felt a little magnetic there. Burakovsky trying to do some work there with Sturm. Burakovsky gets it one more time. Centered out in front. Slap shot goes right into the catching glove of Mike Smith and held there from Bowen Byram's opportunity. So Mike Smith has been very good in this game. Francois, I thought, has been very good in this game. But it's one of those situations. I know some of the analysts don't agree, but when you're taking those delay of game penalties and you have some situations where it's a bad line change, or if Taves can't find his defensive partner and Kel McCarr and it gets turned over and it has to be a one-on-one against RNH, sometimes he gets scored on. And that's been those situations there for Francois. And that's why Edmonton is up 4-2 in this game right now. So Derek Ryan and Landeskog, and on the draw right now, but Ryan is getting kicked out. So this is McLeod now against the captain. Again, if you get kicked out again, it's going to be an automatic delay of game penalty. So picked up now by Landeskog, but it found Edmonton as they get this across the blue line. And great work there by Derek Ryan. And then pirouetting to try to go in behind the cage to keep this one alive. Ryan tried to play this across the blue line, but no defender was in sight. And this goes back toward Mike Smith. Mike Smith now pinballs this off. It's turned over, though. Colorado keeps it in. Bowen Byram into the screen. It's tipped. Mike Smith's down. Snow Angel. It's in an end. But is it going to count is the question. Mike Smith is furious. And right now, it looks like the Avalanche have a goal. He thought there might be some interference there in front. Mike Smith is livid right now. It seems to be that Landeskog. He's going in toward the net and giving those momentarily fist bumps out in front. So Mike Smith plays this one. It bounces off the kick plate to Colorado, and then all of a sudden Colorado is up in there. It's a chance for McKinnon. It's loose out in front. He got knocked down, but I don't know if he got knocked down by Cody Ceci or punched in there by Landeskog. And the ref immediately called this one a goal, and they did not wave it off. And Mike Smith slammed the goal stick and threw it across the ice. He is very upset right now on the fact that this goal seems like it's going to stand at this point. So it's 11:02 left to go in the third. And Jay Woodcroft talking to the assistant coaches over there, and they're not going to challenge this thing. So it's going to be Landeskog's goal. The captain makes it 4-3. Edmonton's lead's cut down to 1. So Colorado still within the driver's seat of striking distance here, as it's 10:45 left to go in this third period. Try to get picked up now by Colorado as they're trying to break this thing out there with Andrew Cogliano. Arturi Lehkonen, Byram and McKinnon got the assist there from Landeskog. Cogliano finds it now. Cogliano plays in front of the high slot, and he got intercepted there by Edmonton. Edmonton and Evan Bouchard. It's 1-on-3. He got his shot blocked. Bouchard still doing yeoman's work with it, though, as he's trying to keep this puck alive. Colorado can't get it out of their own end right now, as Darren Helm was having some issues with it. And now this goes back to the defensive side of things for Bowen Byram. So Byram and Johnson right now are the lone defenders on that second line. As we've hit the halfway mark of this third period, John Andre with it from Rogers Place. It's a 4-3 score line now. Mike Smith trying to play this one across. It gets intercepted across the red line now. Colorado can get it now with Johnson. Eric Johnson gets this one down. It gets across the red line now for Val Nichushkin. This bounces off the red line and then behind the net of Mike Smith. 9:30 left to go in this third period. McDavid trying to get this in with Kulak, and a shot from McLeod to get stopped and held by Francois. So it's a 4-3 game now. Landeskog gets the Colorado Avalanche back within 1. Mike Smith was absolutely furious. Threw the goal stick, slammed it across. He thought there should have been a penalty there for being knocked down. It was not called. And Colorado back within 1 at 4-3.
I just wanted to let you know that the Network Casino app is now in Ontario. never stops. Is this awkward? Get ready, Ontario. And Brittany. Experience the Bet Rivers difference you can trust. It's a whole new game.
Hey, Free, just got to the office. Scorpus knows.
Think we need to chat with Taylor before the podcast.
Great. I'll dial him in on his cell from Microsoft Teams.
Jeff Merrick, what's going on?
Hey, Taylor, it's me and Elliot.
Just want to check some details with you.
Sure, no problem.
That was easy. Collaborating on Microsoft Teams allows us to reach anyone, almost anywhere.
Make the shift to Microsoft Teams today with Rogers for Business, the only Canadian provider of Operator Connect.
There's only us and what we have on this plane.
Pilots, dust ups, breakups, hookups.
Here we go.
I'm Siobhan. I'm not comic. There are things going on in this family that need to be confronted.
You sure this is the right place for you to say so?
Top Performer is brought to you by the GMC AC4 and Elevation. Leon Draisaitl said this morning it's a tough game, a time for seeing just how tough it can be, especially for him to go to his fighting. I'm sure he would still tell us he's fine with the amount of shots that resulted in his little defense has not stopped the 3 assists. And as you mentioned earlier, Chris, he's something going after this playoffs. He never can seventh for Draisaitl will be Wayne Gretzky.
Chance now. I want to get back into the action, but 9:20 left to go in this third period. It is a 4-3 advantage right now for the Edmonton Oilers. Colorado has just scored to get them back within one. Shot bounces off the kick plate. Francois doesn't know where it is right now, as Mikhail Makar will find him now. The captain, Gabriel Landeskog. Belnichuskin loses it at the red line now. Picked it back up. Here's a chance for Burakovsky. Lets a shot go, and it goes up and on a play. And slow to get up is Zach Hyman, as the stick was knocked out of his hands. He's just trying to get his balance there. Hopefully on the Sportsnet side of things, we can take a look at it and see what actually happened here. With 8:58 left to go in the third, Zach Hyman is on struggle street right now as he's kind of circling around the players' bench. It's going to put Edmonton on the power play. And Nathan McKinnon is going to get called for a trip on Zach Hyman. So that's what we have right now. So Edmonton has an opportunity here. Again, that's one of those situations, whether it's wrong place or wrong time, it's not a penalty you can have. Colorado's made one too few many mistakes, and that's why it's 4-3. And we're going to get a tripping minor against Nathan McKinnon. So Edmonton right now has it off the draw. Barry lets it go through the screen. Picked up now by Edmonton and Connor McDavid. McDavid trying to find this thing, centered out front. Draisaitl, extra pass. It went off the bar, and Draisaitl missed it just a little bit toward that right side. He would have had an easy one there, but that was a great attempt nonetheless. This goes back around now. McDavid trying to turn on the Jets across that red line, enter between 3 Avalanche players. High stick check. McDavid finds this thing. It's stuck around Devin Tays. McDavid still doing some work, and Makar finally gets this one down the ice to Mike Smith. Mike Smith now gets it played across. This is Tyson Barrie. He's going to leave it there. Here's Draisaitl. He's going to try to get an entry here for Hyman. Hyman's got 2. Hyman off the backhand side leaves it for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Nugent-Hopkins now. This is Barrie toward the high slot. Barrie holding. Couple of stick drags there. Leaves it there. McDavid. Barrie lets it go to the screen. Try to get bounced back to McDavid. Stopped once by Francois. This is in the high slot now. Chance for Hyman. Can't keep it across that blue line. And we're going to get a neutral zone draw with 43 seconds left to go on the power play. So Bednar has had some opportunities here with some of his lines, the Colorado head coach, to move some things around. And you know what? Anytime you give up something on the Edmonton power play, you got to figure out who you want to put on the penalty kill side of it. But it doesn't matter how banged up Leon Draisaitl is. You can see every single time that shift, and hopefully you can hear it in the inflection of the voice where it's been tough, but he's just fighting through this over and over and over again as much as he can. So Edmonton's power play down to 30 seconds left to go. Pugliarvi gets his shot blocked again. He's just entered. He missed most of the second period. He's come back for most of this third. Taves gets this one down the ice as this finds Mike Smith now. And this can get settled up one more time here for Duncan Keith. Just 10 seconds left to go on the Edmonton power play. Try to get picked back up toward the left dot. This is RNH. Try to leave it across there for Fogle. Shot out in front. Gets stopped there by Francois. Picked up now. Pugliarvi tried to find Cassian. All different kind of entries here for this hybrid playoff line as they can try to get more of the stuff centered here once they get back in there. Shot toward the left side of the boards. Gets blocked off. Copper can't find it. Now Edmonton has it one more time. Edmonton with a series of moves trying to get this around. And this is going to go back to Manson. Manson trying to get around McDavid. 6:30 left to go in this third period right now. Colorado scores! Right off the rush. We are tied at 4. Gotta take a look to see who that was. But this might be Nathan McKinnon's goal. 4-4. The assistant captain gets it done. And just off of the playoff power play attempt, I should say, McKinnon gets a one-on-one off of a gorgeous entry there. And my goodness, one-on-one with Nathan McKinnon. You talk about McDavid as much as you should. McKinnon's in that same sentence. Knots the game at 4. That was a great play, a great shot. And toward the bottom of the right of the post. No chance there for Mike Smith. We are not at 4 with 6:30 left to go in this third period. So for all intents and purposes, Colorado was down 2 goals 2 times in this game. And Nathan McKinnon gets his 11 to the playoffs at the 13:30 mark from Arturi Lehkonen, who got the chip ahead, and Kel McCarr got the secondary assist. Here comes Colorado again. Blocked off in front. And here's a chance now for McLeod. He goes around the net. Tries to pass it out in front to CC, who was going out in front. Ryan hits this off the kick play now. Slap shot there. Stopped by Francois. Now it is in behind the right face-off dot. Try to get picked up now. And this is a penalty up in the air. And this is going to go against Edmonton. This is not a good time for that right now. So when we come back into the action, we're going to get a commercial break. When we come back into the action, Colorado is going to have a power play as it's going to be a tripping call. And we're going to see what happens if they go up 5-4.
Chevrolet Silverados ZR2. Multimatic shocks, rugged 33-inch tires, and front and rear electronic locking differentials. And this is awesome. We should get back to work. This good? If you're going to work remote. Find new workspaces. Find new roads. Chevrolet. There's no better place to bet the NHL than our FanDuel Sportsbook. It's easy to find your bet and lock it in just a few simple taps. And on FanDuel, the action doesn't stop when the puck drops. With in-game betting, you can bet live games with updated odds right through the final moment. And when you're ready to cash out, you can pitch your winnings in as little as 2 hours. FanDuel is now live in Ontario. Download FanDuel Sportsbook today and every moment.
I'm constantly nodding because I know everything about furniture, but with the business side, I'm feeling a little lost.
QuickBooks is an easy way to pay your staff, get paid, and know where your business stands. New business, no problem. Success starts with Intuit QuickBooks. NHLShop.ca, the official online store of the NHL and Canada's largest selection of authentic NHL fan gear. Shop now and get today's special offer.
Well, the stars on both sides will come out to play. Zach Hyman gave the Oilers a 4-2 lead, and then on the doorstep here, Landeskog crashes the net. Power play opportunity for the Oilers at the end of it. McKinnon comes out of the box and he makes it a 4-4 game. Now you have a call. You be the judge, and out Brian. He ends up with a penalty. Landeskog had a hold as well, and now the opportunity swings back to the Avalanche. With a critical power play here, he's going to take it.
So as we go back into the action here, there's not much time left in this third period. And there's a lot to play for here. It is 4-4 as the Avalanche will come back down from 2 goals a couple times. And now they're on the power play. So Kel McCarr's last shot goes just wide as this goes back down the ice. Pavel Francois will go lead this one here for Kale. And we're going to set this one back up, and I'm going to plug this phone back in. So now this is picked up now by Colorado. It gets intercepted toward the blue line as Colorado's going to find a way to try to chip and chase this thing to get in the playoff side. Trying to get through the neutral zone right now is the Avalanche. McKinnon for Rantanen. McCarr. Let's it go, Landeskog scores! 5-4 Colorado. 3 straight goals for the Avs. And Darnell Nurse, it's just the look of shame. You go into the box, you feel shame. That's what they said in Slapshot, and that's what happened right now. Great setup there. McKinnon, leave it there for Rantanen. All the way across. Landeskog, left face-off dot has all the time to find and shoot and pick his corner. He finishes it off. 5-4 Avalanche. They have committed an avalanche of goals in this third period here. They've scored 3 straight. And it's one of those situations right now where Colorado, they've got the lead. They've come down from 2 goals twice. They want to finish this off and get this rest as much as they can. And they've just got a go-ahead goal, courtesy of Rantanen, his 5th of the playoffs. McCarr and Landeskog have the primary and secondary assists. So Rantanen has his 5th. So he must have done some heavy, heavy damage within the last couple of games just in this series alone, because going into this series against the Edmonton Oilers, he had just 1. He's already got 5. So we're going to get back into the official color cast side of things here momentarily. Again, I got the live call here for you no matter when it goes up after the story and all of that. So we're going to get that across. And the YouTube side is already live. So let's get back in there now, and we'll get this reset. So 4:45 left to go here. This is picked up now. The phone has died. So let's see if I can get this back in here.
Here's a battle for help. He did a good job defensively first to make the play. This little drop pass, he reads it well, chips it off, and now McDavid doesn't get inside position, gets to his back, doesn't take a penalty, but still trying to stop up and get it around, but loses his balance, goes flying into Mike Smith. It's an interesting matchup. Again, another veteran guy having to go up against McDavid, and he held his own.
Okay, so we're back in here now to get the color cast side reset. So 8 lights aside, whatever it is, we got 4 minutes left to go in this third period. Colorado's taking a 5-4 lead. It's centered out in front of Francois and brushed aside. Again, Colorado has scored 3 straight goals in this third period. It once take this lead. It was once 4-2. Now it's 5-4. Edmonton down 36-32 on the shot board. They need 1 more goal just to keep their season alive. Picked up now by the Avalanche. Trying to spin around and now stolen. Avs have this thing with Bowen Byram, finds Johnson. Going to set this up now with JT Comfort. Rantanen gets knocked down pretty hard. That was Landeskog. And now Edmonton trying to keep things going. Draisaitl on front scores! And they tied it at 5. Zach Cassian might have gotten the rebound. And we are at a 5-5 game with 3:22 left to go in the third period. So what a play. Rantanen gets bodied off the puck there by Darnell Nurse. No call. And then it was Draisaitl. The outlet pass. Centered it out in front toward the left dot. His slap shot, I think, went right in the net. So he was the first one to get to it. Again, I apologize for anything with the feed. The phone died momentarily, so now we're back officially in the action here. So I was throughout the whole game, so it kind of just reset now. But it is 5-5 with 3:22 left to go in the third period. 37-34 on the shot board. So just after 3 unanswered goals by the Avalanche, it is a goal for Zach Kassian right now. I wasn't so sure if Draisaitl's bid went right out in front or if Kassian just got that rebound and put it in, but it's 5-5 nonetheless. 3 minutes left to go in this third period. Picked up now. Edmonton trying to figure out a way to just find one more, but they've done enough to keep their season alive for the moment as they've knotted it up with 2:50 left to go. Goes in behind the cage of Mike Smith. Edmonton and Colorado, again, you have to feel a little bit rattled on both sides of these things as the ebbs and flows and momentums of power punches have continued. Kassian had it bounced off of him as this goes back to Burakovsky. Former Washington Capital will get this one around with Darren Helm. Try to spin and leave this for Burakovsky. Koski now from Helm. Lost it. Picked toward the left face-off dot. Colorado just trying to find this in between the blades and sticks toward the blue line side. Thrown now to Taves from McCarr. Centered in through the screen. Mike Smith found it in the catching glove and finished this one off. This game is absolutely nuts, man. I appreciate you, Kevin, for joining me on all of this stuff. Again, if you hadn't seen, I had the initial feed in there, so I appreciate you pretty much quintupling any kind of likes that were in there. I hope you're appreciating this game right now. So I'm going to be with you all the way through, again, as I always do. It's a game story to follow at hopelesssportsguy.wordpress.com. We're going to have that one in when this is all done with the complete play-by-play and recap and story. And I will be back tomorrow for Lightning Rangers. That will be game 4. I may have Cooper Hopkins with me on the call. Usually on that side, now that Calgary's eliminated, I've been doing the play-by-play, and he does some of the color stuff, so he could be joining me in on that. But it should be a lot of Stanley Cup coverage for me, and then by the time the final rolls around, I should be doing all of these games. If the NBA Finals aren't too busy, I might try to snag one of those on Wednesday. But this series looks to be maybe extended here, so we'll see how it goes. Face-off is 1. Shot is blocked there by Smith, and then it gets brushed aside as we got about 2 minutes left to go. McDavid trying to go back to Draisaitl. Shot gets stopped out in front by Francois, and this is picked up now off the half spin. McKinnon half spin, lets it go, and it goes just wide of Smith. Picked up now 3-on-2 the other way, and Colorado and Edmonton, just a series of sticks, gets this one down the ice. Again, Kelly Hurdy had talked about it on the second intermission. He thought Darcy Kemper was available to be able to play this one. He should be playing now. I thought he wasn't going to be able to go for the rest of this series in particular, not for the finals, but just for this series. Picked up now, Rantanen lets it go through the screen, and it goes up and out of play. So the Rangers, yeah, you know what? It was a 2-0, and then it was 3-2 at the end of it. But I thought, again, it was just a really good push there by the Lightning to try to find a way to get through that stuff. It was one of those ones that they had to have. It wasn't one of those ones where I thought the Rangers played too poorly in certain situations, but the Lightning were a really desperate team. But from the way that the Rangers have played throughout the series, no doubt in my mind that they can win that game tomorrow. I will be on the call for that in terms of everything that goes on. And I'll be interested to see, because I think the Rangers are just as good as any of these other teams that are in this Final Four, so to speak. When you have Igor Shesterkin, when you have Mika Zibanejad, Panarin, everybody playing as well as they are, and Chris Kreider having about 56 goals all told combined throughout the playoffs and everything else, they look really, really good. It was just a really desperate Tampa team that played really good toward the back end of that second and all of the third. That kind of turned some things around. But that's still going to be a very, very good series, and it should be a long one. I expect the Rangers to not totally give that one all the way through. Down to the last minute, here we are. It is Edmonton with the puck. They're trying to break out here for a 5-5 scoreline. Chance for McDavid. He got blocked off there nicely by Taves. Landeskog trying to join out there as well. And this goes back across the red line. Picked up now by Duncan Keith, the former Chicago Blackhawk, and trying to settle some things down and almost turned it over there with the defensive partner, but picked back up. Kassian knocked off the puck down. McLeod couldn't get to it. And this could be a foot race here for JT Compher, but he's going to need some help. With 22 seconds left. Burakovsky centered it on in front. Comfort gloves it down with the hand. Byram holding toward the blue line side. Now toward the left out, lets it go through the screen. Stopped there by Smith. It's loose out in front of the slot and picked up now by the Oilers. Cross the red line now. 5 seconds, down to 4. Intercepted there by Nichushkin. We're going to have one more face-off drop at the neutral zone before we're going to head to overtime, it looks like. Tied at 5. So this has been an excellent, excellent game. I said this throughout the second period about how much of a warrior effort and mentality that Leon Draisaitl has had battling through that right leg injury, man. He's taken several whacks to it as we've gone along. He's had to be double and triple shifted in terms of Jesse Puljujärvi that's missed some time. Again, the Evander Kane suspension has been of the own doing on the other side for Nazem Kadri, but all that means is you just have to double and triple shift for Leon Draisaitl, and it's worked out pretty well. But Colorado, with an avalanche of goals in their own end, it's now 5-5 with 3 seconds left to go in the third period. Again, I'm covering the Sportsnet side of the feed, and I will give you the rest of this. We're going to stay as long as it takes until we find a definitive winner. This is going to be an offensive zone draw here for Edmonton. If they get something quick, they might be able to get a shot off. Down to 1 second, held across the blue line. It's Flood, and the third period ends tied at 5. We are going to see how many overtimes it takes, whether Colorado can sweep this series away or whether Edmonton at Rogers Place right now can live to fight another day. The series would continue on Wednesday about 8:15 Eastern, if that stands. Enjoy the intermission, everybody. I will stick with everyone else in the comment section on Colorcast and YouTube. I will get some of these goals marked down, and we're going to get set for overtime action momentarily. Yeah, they've looked really, really good throughout the entire postseason. And one of those situations, I want to equate it to this. Again, they're looking for a second sweep. Again, it was just 6 for the St. Louis Blues. For Edmonton, I want to make it clear now that you're in here, Kevin, I want to make the mention in the sense of I went against the Edmonton Oilers in the first round and the second round. I make no bones about it. I thought the Los Angeles Kings were going to find a way. They lost in 7. And that series between the Calgary Flames and the Edmonton Oilers went a lot shorter than I thought it would. No doubt about it. But it's one of those situations you have that chasm of goal scoring. And here's what I mean by this. He had 125 points for McDavid. He had 110 for Draisaitl. And the next closest was RNH with 55. So that chasm hasn't really shown in the Stanley Cup playoffs for Edmonton. They've been excellent. Again, they're going to be without Evander Kane for 1 game. If it was up to me, I thought that suspension for Kadri deserved more than 1 game because Kadri is not going to be able to suit up for the rest of this playoffs. But all of those point total chasms have not shown in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Everybody's been scoring, whether it was RNH, whether it was Zach Hyman, whether Cassian, anyone else you want to throw in there, McLeod, Ryan, everybody, Draisaitl, McDavid, all the heavy lifting has been done by there. But whether, and I know this is not going to happen, but let me just throw it out there. Even if the Edmonton Oilers came all the way back, won 4 straight games and won a Stanley Cup, let's just throw that out there. It does not take away some of the problems you think about having to have more effort in the regular season to figure out who's going to help out McDavid and Draisaitl. It does not take away the sense of having some issues between Duncan Keith and Cody Ceci, figuring out who's going to hold that back end of defense. It does not take away some of the problems that you think about between Mike Smith, who's been excellent in this playoffs. I make no bones about it. He's been excellent. But a 40-year-old goaltender, a 35-year-old goaltender on the other side of Mikko Koskinen. There's a lot of holes that have to be filled by the general manager once of the Detroit Red Wings and Ken Holland now bolting to the Edmonton Oilers to join Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. There's still a lot of work left to be done. It's been a great run by the Edmonton Oilers, but as you said, in terms of it, this has been an excellent, excellent machine in terms of everything that you brought out in front of the Colorado Avalanche, Kevin, and I don't see them slowing down anytime soon. The only thing I'd be concerned about for Colorado, and this I hasn't really seen too much of this of late, was I thought Kemper and Pavel Francouz, it was a 903 and 902 save percentage, respectively, for both. It was one of those situations where, okay, these guys are 1A and 1B, but what's going to happen for Colorado if they have to go up in an instance for a Vasilevsky or a Shesterkin? Is all of this offense sustainable? It feels like it is, but I wonder if all the goaltending and everything else is going to be sustainable. Because again, if you give up 5 goals and you spot 5 goals for Shesterkin or Vasilevsky, you have a completely different result here. You can't really do that. I'm not saying Francois or Darcy Kemper are poor, but what I'm saying is what I've said a lot through Colorado throughout the series. You want to be able to make sure those guys only have to make 25 to 28 saves. If it goes a little bit north of that, you go into a little bit of trouble, and that's where you're going to be seen. So that's what would worry me in the Stanley Cup Finals. Can Colorado absolutely do it? Absolutely, but they're going to need a little bit better goaltending and a little bit better attention to detail. Look, they shot themselves in the foot today with some of these delay of game penalties and a turnover there for Taves and McCarr that turned into be a breakaway for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. I know this game's looked a little bit wild. It's looked to be a little bit of a half of Game 1 and Game 5 in Battle of Alberta, but you're not going to survive those 5-5s in the Stanley Cup Finals. Yeah, Mike Smith is really, really good, and in the sense of it, and you think Mike Smith is a little bit too shaky to live another game. You know, I don't doubt that in terms of that, but again, I think it goes back to the point that we all speak of, and you guys made that point of it. Whether it's Mike Smith or Mikko Koskinen, I don't know who they're going to be able to address in the offseason, whether it would be at free agency or anything else from the pipeline. You got to find a way. It works during the regular season when you have McDavid and Draisaitl, but I don't know if that's really sustainable going in through long playoff runs that Edmonton wants to have going through the upcoming years. No doubt about it. Give me 1 second. I'm going to use the restroom.
I just wasn't crazy about it. I know I didn't even look at social. I can only imagine what the Oilers fans are thinking. But I mean,
Rantanen's trying to pick him, so it should be like a walk.
I thought if anything, it's a 4-on-4. It's a
I wouldn't have called it. That's what they've not called all night. You know, at that time of the night, I just don't think that's a call that you make. Case in point, your kindreds are in this game. So why don't we start with Josh Manson and then go?
Well, we're going to name names. We're just going to say everyone's been going tonight. There's been hits from behind. There's been slashes now, and there's been look at this. I can't believe showing this little chop on the ankle there.
That was a little chop.
I'm so proud of all my ex-teammates and friends. And then this one here, this is Duncan Keith, little chop in the back. That hurts too. That chop in the back of the leg hurts. Rantanen's going to get up, and Rantanen's going to chase him back to net, cross-check him there. And keep in mind, the referee is right there watching this, and these guys are having a jousting match. And he's letting everything go, so that makes the Ryan call even more perplexing.
It's right. Exactly. Right. Okay, let's get to the good. Leon Draisaitl. Okay, this is what's good about sports and the determination and willpower of people. And Ellie, you did a great job last intermission of showcasing Draisaitl and his determination, the way that he's been knocked down so many times and gets back up every single time, makes his way to the bench and finds a way to will it to happen again. This is really inspiring for a lot of people.
Yeah, guys, I appreciate that. I'm back now. So, I think that Shesterkin or Vasilevsky are better than Mike Smith and Francois. Yeah, no doubt about that. They're in a whole different level of class. If you're talking about elite level players, we talk about, Connor McDavid and Nathan McKinnon, 1 and 2, and Leon Draisaitl. I don't want to make any small mark about it. Again, he's a little bit banged up, but for as banged up as he's been, for you to be as effective as he's been, he's no worse than a top 5. So if you're talking about the high-end offensive players, when you think about Shesterkin and Vasilevsky, it's the best goalie of this year in Shesterkin that's probably winning a Vezina versus the best goalie of the last 5 years. By the way, still going for a back-to-back-to-back attempt. So the most elite level of offensive players we're seeing in this game versus the 2 best elite goalies in the world. So that's what makes it very, very good. And for the Rangers, as you talked about, Kevin, it's a sense of when I watch Mika Zibanejad and I watch Adam Fox, on that side of it, I am just wholly impressed every time I watch those guys play. And Mika Zibanejad is starting to turn into a little bit of Alex Ovechkin from that left faceoff dot when Adam Fox is setting them up over and over and over on that power play. Even for as good as Edmonton's power play or Colorado's is, I think even maybe the New York Rangers can make them have a bid for their money. They've had the best percentage of any team that's been left. And I'm saying starting with the 16, not just the 4 that were left. You know what? If the Tampa series goes 7 games again, I'm going to be here tomorrow at 8:15 for puck drop for that one. I would love that one. And then with Cooper Hopkins, usually my color play-by-play guy. He was my play-by-play guy during the Calgary side because he's the Calgary super guy. But on the end of it, I might be doing some of the polls then. We can probably join up and do that because I hope that's going to be a long series because I'm really, really looking forward to that one because I think that's one of those ones where everybody loves goals. I get it, but I like some of that defense and attention to detail and some of those other sharp plays. And I think we see more of that in this series in the Eastern Conference rather than the West. When this has just been a shootout at the OK Corral, you see a little more patient style of play with also exceptional offense on both sides. So what was going on with Strum? Can you fill me in? Because I wasn't able to see much of that Sunday game. I had too much stuff going on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I had Sunday through Thursday covered in there, but the weekend I wasn't able to get on and watch too much of the games, if you could, Kevin. So I appreciate it.
I think he's right. Yeah, there's some other amazing defensemen that I've watched, others that I've played with, but the full package is 23 years old. And to have this impact, I haven't seen. He needs longevity, though, right? To do it longevity. Let's see him do it for a couple of years, but certainly every part of the game, he doesn't cheat any of it.
So the other night we were talking about offsides, right? The McCarr goal late in the first period and all the controversy around that. And I mentioned Tom Wilkinson had the knack for drawing opponents offside.
So Strom got hurt defending a Tampa Bay power play and took one in the shin and he didn't return. Okay. Yeah, we've seen a lot of that. I think that he would be okay, I imagine, but it's the typical lower body injury that you would see. Remember Stamkos in one of the series before that against Florida in that sweep. I mean, he went to the room 5-6 different times off of shot blocks and things like that. Strom is really, really good on that second line, especially you can put him second, third, you can move him the first if you want. Gerard Gallant is an excellent coach. And again, I will say this, when the ping pong balls bounced a couple of years ago in the Rangers' favor during those COVID pause years, I know the Red Wings fell to 4 from either Lucas Raymond. That turned out to be good. But getting Alexei Lafreniere, getting Gerard Gallant from Vegas after stupidly being fired after making the Stanley Cup final, which I'll never understand. The land of sin got a little too greedy trying to go all in for that jackpot and win the whole thing when they vanquished assets over and over again to try to make something happen. Maybe they can make a return when they're healthy, but Gerard Gallant certainly got a better opportunity with the Rangers, who are going to be a much, much, much better team for a longer time in the stretch of what Vegas is now going to become. If I had to pick a winner for the Conn Smythe, what are some candidates? Let me look right now. So I think we got all our playoff goals for and shit like that too, and then regular season stuff. So let me look at that.
Keeps me connected to the things I like. Heading in the right direction. And looking good. And when the unexpected happens, it helps protect me. That's why it's more than just a part of me. The Elantra. Stay connected and protected.
Lemons. Lemons, lemons, lemons.
So McDavid and Draisaitl, I know they were 1-2, and then Kucherov is 5. So McDavid's got 30, Draisaitl 28, Zibanejad 24, Adam Fox 23. That's incredible for Adam Fox. Can't sleep on that. Nikita Kucherov with 20. He's an absolute robot. In the postseason, Evander Kane 13 goals, Zibanejad 10, McKinnon 10, Kreider 10, McDavid 10, McDavid 9. 10 now because he scored in today's game. So I said 10. You know what? If it comes down to the end of it, as far as postseason MVP, it's one of those situations where you could even I could even throw Shesterkin or Vasilevsky in that point. I would have to favor at this point maybe Mika Zibanejad and Adam Fox. let me look at the regular season stuff here.
Any way you like. Grab your Canadian tots. Harvey's Angus Burger is worth dressing up for. Try the new Angus barbecue bacon ringer melt, only at Harvey's.
Hockey fans, show up. And every day, Enterprise.
So McDavid has 123 points, Gaudreau 115, Huberdeau 115. So Art Ross and all that stuff for MVP would go to Connor McDavid in the regular season. I think there'll be no doubt about it that he would end up winning that one. Again, he's only 24 years of age. On the other side of it, though, like you said, for the postseason stuff, I'd have a hard time not trying to find Mika Zibanejad or Adam Fox on the other side of it. Or even, I know this isn't going to happen, but if, again, this isn't going to happen, but if Draisaitl was able to get some of the other stuff going, considering how much he's battled through some of those leg injuries, that is tremendous, tremendous credit. And Evander Kane he did himself a big disservice as far as being one of the best playoff leading goal scorers and then giving himself, luckily for his sake, he only got a 1-game suspension. I thought it should have been more. But I wouldn't be surprised in the Stanley Cup playoffs, like you said, for an MVP in the final being one of those goaltenders. I think that's going to matter a lot. So McDavid, 26 minutes of ice time. McKinnon, 18 minutes of ice time. Double shifting in all intents and purposes because you have to for Jay Woodcroft. You had Puljujärvi's injury and Kane being out for a game. You have to do whatever you can here, and that's why Draisaitl and McDavid has played as much as they've had. So we're going to get back into the official action right now. Again, for overtime, there is no such thing as a bathroom break and all that stuff. So at the 10-minute mark, usually about the halfway through, if there is no goal score, we get a little bit of a ice scrapage. So do whatever you got to do right now before the puck drops, just in case if you're in that situation. So I'm going to go ahead and get my lines all pulled up here again, and then we will get started. So McDavid and McKinnon set on the draw. McKinnon wins it again. The Colorado Avalanche will be attacking left to right in this overtime period as right to left for the Edmonton Oilers. In the white, cerulean, and maroon are the Avalanche, and then the Oilers in the dark black and orange. Draisaitl holding on toward the high slot, tried to bank a pass across. This almost found Francois, and Taves was able to cut this one off. Draisaitl gloves it down across the red line and sets it back up there as CC and Nurse will play crisscross. There's a chance for Draisaitl, and toward the right, that try to sauce it out in front, and this finds the Nathan McKinnon now, the assistant captain. Nathan McKinnon going to hold, play this one toward the right dot, and try to feed it ahead there for Nichushkin. He gets bounced off the puck there with Landeskog, and this goes down across the red line. Somehow McDavid was almost able to get this in between 3 different Avalanche players, and they got to skate back on side here. McDavid can't enter off the change, and now they do, and it's going to be an offsides. So 19:02 left to go in this overtime. Again, I will have full game coverage to follow at hopelesssportsguide.wordpress.com. You got your play-by-play and your game story, and then I will be back tomorrow about 8:15 Eastern for the Tampa Bay Lightning and the New York Rangers, and for Game 4. And when this series gets extended, if it does, if Edmonton wins this one, we'll have to go between the NBA Finals and an extension in this one to see if how many people are on ColorCast. Picked up on the other side now. Tyson Berry lost, and McCarr lets it go into the screen, and it goes up and on a play with 18:46 left to go in the overtime. Nick, I appreciate you checking in and sticking in with me here for this overtime. I'm going to be here as long as it takes. If you want to hang out, leave some comments, questions, and concerns, let me know as always. I'm trying to check in on this side and check in on the YouTube side of things, just in case here. 40 shots to 35 on the shot board, 5-5 apiece on both sides. Face off in the offensive zone of the Colorado Avalanche, trying to win this one, trying to get it back to Taves and McCarr. Lehkonen finds it. McCarr lets it go to the screen, and so it scores! Colorado gets the sweep, and we just talked about that off the draw to get something to happen and bounce their way. Colorado sweeps their way to the Stanley Cup Finals, beats Mike Smith. No chance on earth to make the save. And Colorado is going to await the winner of the Lightning or the Rangers, but we're going to check with the Zebras just to make sure that this stands so I won't get too far ahead of myself. All the players are celebrating. Face-off win here by the Avalanche. Played across that blue line, and we'll see if it's played with a high stick. But again, here's my problem with it. Lehkonen scores, but did it bounce off the high stick? I mean, it comes back and he puts the rebound in. Do you want to just blow that one dead because his initial high stick where the puck wasn't even played with it? But they're going to look at it nonetheless. Saying that one's close. I want to look at this again. Now, if you're looking on the ESPN side, let me know. I'm seeing the Sportsnet side of it. So Makar shoots the shot. It goes high. I can't see if it goes high on that feed. That was a poor look there. Hopefully I can see on the secondary side of things. Lehkonen picks it up off the rebound and scores it, but they're saying the initial stick might have been high. In a third attempt here, it's in slow motion, and I still can't see too much on the Sportsnet side of things to differentiate whether or not that should stand. But we're going to get the official call here. Colorado celebrating, and I didn't hear an actual goal call yet, but I'm assuming it's already done with the amount of celebrations that are already there. The wave of the hand was there. It is good. Colorado moves on to the Stanley Cup final. They await the winner of the Tampa Bay Lightning and the New York Rangers. I'm going to have that call for you tomorrow about 8:15 Eastern, all the way through. Peace out, everybody. Have a good one. We will stay with you through the handshake line. It's one of the best traditions in old sports. It's one of those situations again. I thought Mike Smith played very well. I thought Edmonton fought very hard in this game. Colorado fought their way through. They scored 3 straight goals to be able to take that lead. Edmonton fought back to tie it up. But this series is over. Colorado advances to the Stanley Cup Finals. So this is some great hockey on both sides, and Colorado was just the much better team. And as I've talked about many times throughout this broadcast, all the other things that happened with it, especially with the fight from Edmonton right now throughout this game and winning 2 playoff series, do not let that mask, if you're Ken Holland or anyone else an Edmonton fan, do not let that mask all the changes that need to be done going forward here for the Edmonton Oilers. Because 2 playoff series, yes, that's great to be in the Final Four. There is a lot of work left to be done, and Edmonton needs to make sure they're on their P's and Q's to figure out what that needs to be done, whether to be more offensive depth, better defensive work, and figuring out what you're going to do there with Mikko Koskinen and Mike Smith trying to get some other goaltending over. There's a lot of work left to be done there for Edmonton. But Colorado moves on. Stanley Cup Finals. They're waiting. Who's going to win between the Rangers and the Lightning? I'll be back with you tomorrow about 8:15 Eastern in Game 4 of that series. Have a good one, everybody. Have a good night. We'll talk to you soon.
So another step for Connor McDavid and the young Oilers. And comes that handshake for the Mansons. Here at G1 was going to the final. I think Mom's probably happier. It's her son. Let's check in with Kyle and Nathan McKinnon.
Well, Nathan, about 10 days ago, just about finally getting over the hump of the second round, and now you're going to a Stanley Cup final. Tell me what you're thinking.
It's crazy. I know we knew tonight we could advance to the final, but it just kind of seems like a surreal thing. But job's not finished, not by any means. We'll see how we play next series, but we're excited, man. And obviously, we had some injuries, but we're ready to go. And we don't feel like we're done yet, and we're going to give it our best shot next series. That's just experience. I mean, the playoffs, momentum swings. We knew it would go in our favor eventually. We were dominating the whole game. Top the last 10 minutes of the second. We had a great third. I mean, we probably should have won it before that. So, awesome full effort. Kale, unbelievable tonight. Awesome goal by Lucky, and super excited to go to the final here.
We'll see you there, Nick. Congratulations.
Thank you.